Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday to everybody who is here in the house. I hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone has had a beautiful night. You're able to enjoy some things. Maybe watch a little bit of NBA. We got plenty of college football playoff rankings to discuss this morning. Don't you even worry about that. We're going to spend a whole lot of time on that subject. But I hope everyone's doing good. It's Wednesday. It's November the 8th as we barrel through and get through the end of this year. It seems like it's going by pretty fast for me at least. And so it's a barrel down to the birthday coming up soon in December. So got a lot of things going on, a lot of things to discuss. But happy Wednesday to you. Of course, we're gonna have Texas TCU. Still thinking about that great interview that we had with Steven yesterday and how awesome that was. But yeah, good morning to everybody who is out there, man. I hope, like I said, and ladies, obviously not excluding you. Man, it's just general, but everyone, man. I hope everyone's doing good. As I said, man, again. Everyone, I hope everyone is doing good. I absolutely do mean that. Once again, want to let everybody know when you first time you've seen the show, this is where we are for the month of Movember. I'm getting there. Someone said, I wish I saw you who said it yesterday that I'm definitely not growing that Steve Harvey mustache. But for the month of Movember, it's Men's Health Awareness Month. It's the annual global campaign that encourages men to grow mustaches and participate in various activities to raise awareness for men's health issues. This month-long event focuses on promoting physical and mental well-being among men, addressing certain issues as prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health challenges, and of course, suicide prevention. And then suicide prevention, I'm getting close to getting someone for the American Federation of Suicide Prevention, and getting close to having someone on here. So we had some emails going back and forth. So we'll be able to do that. So this is my attempt to support Movember. Fellas out there, things we don't discuss. We talk about sports. We don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about well-being. We don't talk about going to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, hey, man, you recommend a good doctor? Like, no. Women do that. Women do that all the time. I got a good guy I can recommend, a good person, so on and so. We don't talk about these things, but I'm starting to get older. I saw something on social media. It was either Instagram or Facebook, one of the two things that old people like me are on. And it showed the pencil sharpener. Guys, remember the ones that would be in the classroom, and you put your pencil in and you wind it up. And it said, if you're old enough to know what this is, then it's time for a prostate exam. I was like, oh, snap. That is pretty darn amazing. I was like, yeah, it probably is. So, fellas, we'll talk about these things in this month, but, we probably should go see a doctor or something. I probably should too. It's been a while. So anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll get that stuff done there. Let me say good morning to everybody who's coming in here in the chat as well. Let's get someone from like Total Men's Health. What's that place called? Total Men's Health. Should get someone from them to come in here and talk about it. But yes, let's keep it going. Let's see. All right. Cesar Torres, number one in the chats. Good morning to you, Cesar. My man Cesar always out here doing big things. It's good to see you, Cesar Torres. Eric Hart is in here. G Lewis is in here, man. Like, good morning to you, G Lewis. Top 3 for you. Look at you taking home the bronze, G. I like that. Rodolfo is in here talking about let's cook. Soto Rodolfo said let's cook. Is that? Oh, I know what that means. I was like, well, he didn't say anything about Jay Witt. Yes, you did. I got it. Jonte Cook. Damn it, Rodolfo. You're just so disrespectful to Jordan Whittington, Rodolfo. You're just so disrespectful to that man. Let Jordan Whittington eat, dog. Soto 806, good morning. DWD, good morning to you. It's always good. Morning to horns and haters. Yes, we need the haters as well. Cat Williams says you got if you always got to have haters in your life. Haters don't hate on people who don't have something. So yes, we welcome the haters as well. Because we don't see as many OU haters as we used to, though. They've kind of gone the way of the dinosaur recently. I think Bo popped in the other day, but I haven't seen Stoopsified in a hot minute. I don't know where he is. What's up, Robert? Good morning to you and Whitney out there. Good morning to you, Craig. Good morning to you, Alan. Good morning to you, Money B in the building. I hear Money B. They got referenced on the Money B. You got referenced on the on Catch the Show on the House Divided yesterday. I'm like, look at Money B. All right, I see you, Money B. What's up, Kiki? Good morning to you. Jared, good morning to you. Just another fragrance reviewer. Good morning to you. Jesse's in the house, EO_. My favorite Hennessy bottles in the house. Anthony, Lewis, Chris Nelson, a simple yo will do you. Nathan, any updates on Quinn? We up to 80% now. I am not doing percentages every single day. I didn't want to do the percentages yesterday. And I did that. I promise you, I'm not going to do any more percentages for the rest of the week. We'll just see how this whole thing goes as it goes up. Chris Bennett, the original OG of Superfans, is in here. The Jonathan Brooks Fan Club president is in here as well. Jimmy D, Blake May, Burnt Orange Bloods. Good morning to you. Tip of the cup to you, man. Have you guys ever seen? You know, you're saying that Burnt Orange Bloods. I saw this device yesterday. And have you guys ever seen this? Hold on, see if I can pull it up on my phone. This thing called Bartesian. I saw this thing pop up, Bartesian, where it's supposed to be able to make all your expert drinks. Have you guys ever seen this thing? Has anyone ever used it? Blake, do you know what I'm talking about? Bartesian. Check it out. Look it up, Blake. It's Bart, ESIAN, and it's supposed to be this apparatus. It's almost like a coffee maker, Keurig kind of thing that actually makes your drinks. And it can make it strong or not. Anyway, you showed me that thing on Burnt Orange Blood, and I saw this Bartesian thing yesterday, and I was just wondering if that thing works or not. Good morning to you, Text Guy 2. Cotton, good morning to you. Jacob Freeman to you. Corleone is in the house. A little dab will do you. I'm trying a little dab. I'm trying, but it's a little stash I have to do you. It's been like a week and change, dog. This is it. This is all you've been getting. Now, I have shaved the bottom part, but I've literally not shaved this some more. My main man, Jaime Gutierrez, is in the house. Junior Dogs is in the house. Miguel Angel Diaz is in the house. Yes, my Spanish is getting good. What up, Quinn coming back for sure. I didn't say that. Malik still needs time in the oven to roast a little bit more to perfection. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with him. Nothing wrong with him. He's just young. That's it. Can't be mad at young people for being young. You know, I always say stuff like you can't be mad at a baby for being a baby. I don't get mad at a teenager for doing teenage things. You know, I don't get mad at a 20-year-old for doing silly things. I can't get mad for a young quarterback for being a young quarterback. He's a young quarterback. And yes, he needs time to grow and develop, but you need Quinn. That's all. Stanley, tough. Yes, bringing back the grunge rock look. Absolutely. I was just looking for something different in the closet. I probably have had this shirt from Express for like 10 years. I'm not gonna lie. Easily 10 years. Maybe even more. Man, I've got sweater vests from back in the day. You guys ever remember a store? I think it used to be called was it Merry-Go-Round? What's the name of the store? I think it was called Merry-Go-Round Store, something like that. But it was like in the 80s that used to sell like clothes. I'm pretty sure it was called Merry-Go-Round. I think that was like they sold men's stores as well. But I'm pretty sure I've got I'm pretty sure I got some sweater vests from them. To be quite honest with you, I'm taking it back. I'm gonna have to look at the tags one day and see it. Good morning to you, Doug. Gabe is in the house. Ben G is in the house. Stanley, good morning to you. Doug, Nathan, C. Clear. Morning from Knoxville. Nice, beautiful. It's beautiful out there, by the way, C. Clear. I think I talked about Text Guy too. You said mental health. Hell, we talk about Aggie crazy all the time. Well, if anybody needs Text Clear too, Text Guy too, if anybody needs to talk about mental health, it's Aggie fans, especially after the report yesterday. that says he's going to be back. Jim's going to be back next year, and here are the reasons why. I'm like, oh my gosh, run it back, run it back. JB fan club presidents. Anwar went in on Catch yesterday. Hilarious. I was having fun. I went in on everybody. Okay, but yeah, because Catch was like, oh, this is what it must be like. Because I talked for a while. So Catch was like, oh, this must be what it would be like to do a show with me. And I was like, no, you talk. And I just kept interrupting him every time he talked. I'm like, no, that's how it feels like to be doing a show with you. I don't think he appreciated that comment. I can see his face. I know Catch it long enough to know he didn't appreciate that. But there's no lies detected. Catch my dude, though. John, good morning to you. Blake, good morning to you. Nate, good morning to you. Good morning to you, Tom G. Darian is in the house. Brandon, the mailman, is in the house. John Jameson is in the house. The mailman, as opposed to the Amazon man. That's interesting. Robert's in here. Alan, you have one. Does it work is what I want to know. It's good? All right. All right. Javier Rubio is in the house. Mark Anthony. He's a singer, he's a performer, and he's also here on my show. I like it. Let's see. No, Express. Yeah, Express. MJ Construction Design and Build. Oh, look at this. MJS Construction Design and Build. Love the show, guys. My dad and I were at the game. It shouldn't have been close, but Malik and this new Texas culture found a way to win. Hooker from Birmingham, Alabama. Man, I was just in Birmingham for SEC media days back in the summer. Went to some places in downtown Birmingham. Good eating, by the way. Some good eating. If I had time, I'd be able to go and look it up and tell you where I went, MJS. But Birmingham has come up. I did an internship in Birmingham back in the day, and MJS, you appreciate it. I lived in a city called Pinson, Alabama. And this woman who I thought that it was, I was interning for the Birmingham Post Herald, which is no longer in existence, right? Funny story. So I get there, and I thought that the Birmingham Post Herald was going to like take care of, the housing portion of it. And they said they kind of was. And then we got there, they're like, nah. So me and this other guy in sports, we're like, man, we got no place to stay, right? And so somebody volunteered who worked in the newsroom, and she's like, you guys can stay in my basement. And literally she charged us $400 each to be a roommates in her basement. She hustled us, man, like hustled us. But we were, we're college students, like we got nowhere to go. And like she hustled us for $400 a month. And I'm talking about like this back in the 90s, right? So she straight hustled us. But other than that, so Birmingham's definitely come up since I've been there. Let's see what else. Scott is in here as well. Blake Watkins is in here as well. Brandon Hempfield is in the world. And Brandon, the mailman, said, got to have something to listen to while delivering this mail. Man, hey, you literally deliver mail. That's kind of awesome. That's kind of awesome. But don't you also have to deliver Amazon as well? Like, don't y'all got hustle, man. Y'all got hustle. Like y'all got to deliver mail and Amazon packages. Like what part of the game is that? Anyway, I want to get into that'll go into something political, and we don't want to do that this morning. But yes, good morning to everybody here. Glad everyone's here. Blake is producing behind the scenes. Aaron is on a little bit of vacation this week. So, so Aaron is out there doing his thing. So Blake is putting in long days. So when you see Blake on the shows later today, and especially tonight, be nice, be kind. No, my man is putting in, 14 hours today, 14 or more hours tomorrow. Like kind of a lot, kind of stressful. They's got to do shows on Friday. They's got to do it on Saturday. So be good to them. Be good to them. That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of catch. Catch would be like, why is this dude coming at me? Like, what the hell is the problem? No, it's all good. It's just cool when I have my own show. I get to say what I want. It's just I give everybody. It's just called what I call love taps. If you ever had family, you ever had kinfolk, you know how it goes. You go around, you get around each other. Everybody gives love taps. You grow up like the way I grew up. Everybody has nicknames, And the nicknames are just the meanest things about you. Like the coolest things about you is what, you get known for. Like they call me slim because I was skinny. They call big people heavy. Like, hey, what's up, slim? Like you get that forever. You got to be cross-eyed. They be calling you left eye, like all kinds of things, just because of that. So just know when I come at you, it's all good. It's just love taps, man. That's just what we do as a family. Speaking of love, I also got to mention my main man, Eric Sells Holmes, DFW, because we love him. We love El Presidente, don't we? Eric Sells Holmes, DFW. If you're looking for a home in the DFW area, you've got to look no further than Eric Torres. You see that thing up there? We talk about him every day. It's the QR code that's there. He was Mr. 12-0. Now, he's not going to get to 12-0, but hell, I know he'll sell for 11-1 and be very, very happy with it. So El Presidente, Eric Sells Holmes, DFW. Yo, you guys think about some of the nicknames that you guys grew up with guys in around your neighborhood that had certain kind of nicknames. It was always of stuff that things. One of my friends, when I met her, she had like sinus problems and she's always sniffling. And I just started calling her Booger. And to this day, I call her Booger. To this day, 20 plus years later, I'm like, what's up, Booger? How you doing? Just I don't know. That's just how it goes. It's the culture. Eric Sells Holmes, DFW. You check him out. And again, look, we're going to buy, looking to sell, whatever it is. Eric Sells Holmes, DFW. He has got you covered. Okay. Hey, today, 9:30 today, we're going to have Alex Dunlap coming in at 9:30 to provide the brevity that he does. Alex and I are definitely the odd couple. I always say there couldn't be two people who are probably more opposite than Alex and I, which makes the conversations always so fascinating. Like, I never know what makes Alex laugh. I don't know what makes him, like, the things I think will make him laugh or he gets serious about, the things I think we'd be serious about that makes him laugh. We should do videos together, just exposing ourselves to our different things. Like Alex, he would tell me like to have him come on the show, and him and Blake would do something where I rank stuff. And so they always have me rank these odd things. And so I think I said, all right. So one of the times I said, well, the last time I was on there, I was like, Alex, I said, I need you to rank. I said, Cupid Shuffle, Electric Slide, and Cha-Cha Slide. What's your 1, 2, 3? He's like, I don't know what any of those things are. What are they? And I'm like, oh my gosh. If two people couldn't be more opposite, it's Alex and I. So Alex will be in here at 9:30. And I'm just always fascinated to see the mind of Alex and how that works. And then Jenni Carlson from Sellout Crowd clearly used to work in Oklahoma as a columnist at the newspaper there. But Jenni Carlson from Sellout Crowd, she's going to be in around 10:20. And I just wanted to do kind of a check-in with her. I just want to, first of all, Jenni Carlson, good people, good reporter, good columnist rather, good reporter as well. But I'm fascinated in what to know, like what has happened there from the time that OU was doing a victory parade in Norman after beating Texas to now. I want to know what's going on with Oklahoma, but I also want to know what's going on with Oklahoma State, because that's a team earlier this year. I was like, well, they're done. And now all of a sudden here they are with Texas. So Jenni Carlson is going to give us a kind of a perspective of what's going on behind the scenes with that. To be honest with you, there aren't a lot of people that cover TCU. So I was going to look to see if I can get somebody else in there on there. It's Slim Pickens. So I much rather, it's like, let me just talk to Jenni and see what's going on with Oklahoma in that world. And she's also done some stuff for mental health awareness as well on one of her shows. So I just thought it was really good timing for us to do that. So let's absolutely do that. But y'all don't bring up the I'm a man thing. I think they're so far beyond that. So don't y'all behave when you do that. Okay, be kind. Be kind to our guests. Unless you want to give it to old boy from yesterday. Steven didn't give a damn, right? He like, I'm from Memphis, dog. You come on, you can get it. I'm like, oh snap! All right, I'm gonna sit back here and watch and get my popcorn. Let's do this then. Let's go to a quick break, and then we come back. Listen, we have got to, and I said got to, improper English. We've got to. I'm from the South, you know. Oh, if you really want to go Southern, so when we come back, we fixing to talk about all these college football playoff rankings that came out yesterday, the controversy behind it, how Texas is getting. Okay, let's see. I know there's kids in the car. You guys are taking your kids to middle school right now. How Texas has got the raw end of the deal. There you go, parents. I'm with you. I know the kids are at elementary school, but and they got some middle school. And your middle schoolers already know. Your middle school's already got the bad words down, right? I know my son, he's in 5th grade. He'll be in middle school next year. I said something to him a few months ago. I said, something happened, whatever. I said, I know you say bad words when you go to school. I said, I ain't dumb. Like I said, just so we're clear, just don't say it around me. But I know when you get to school, you and your kids and your little badass friends say those bad words. He's like, can we switch subjects, Dad? I was like, yeah, you can switch subjects, but don't think I was born that night, but I wasn't born last night. Don't try your daddy, okay? So anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk everything about the playoffs and the rankings. We got a lot of stuff. Blake worked behind the scenes to get a lot of graphic material ready for us. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to dissect that. We're going to talk about the controversies where Texas really should be. And we're just going to make fun of a lot of different people and give them, and everyone's going to catch strays. So let's do a quick break and then we'll be right back. We're going to talk about the playoff rankings.
Like the Texas Longhorn football team just tried to hurt your soul and your sanity and your ability to be calm and reasoned. But hey, this is why we watch the games. This is why we love the sport. The Longhorns advance to 5-1. They really haven't advanced anywhere, but they advanced with a win on the hair of their chinny chin chin. I know you guys were nervous. I was. At 1st and goal at the 7, there at the end, it felt like, holy crap, this is going to actually go down. And then Travis, give the Texas defense a lot of credit for stopping them 4 straight times inside the 7-yard line, but also give credit to Kansas State because every time they got into inside the 10, inside the 5 today, they tried to reinvent themselves a little bit away from the things that were working. I think Mr. Howard is a very angry individual right now in that Kansas State locker room, but who cares about him? The Longhorns are 5-1. They're in first place all by their lonesome at the moment in the Big 12. For now. They won't be in like 3 hours, but for now, they're alone in first place. They control their destiny to make the Big 12 championship game. And the toughest remaining game on their schedule, maybe, I won't get too far ahead of myself, but maybe just got finished and completed. Your initial reactions, Travis, to this one hell of a ball game. We got to give it that.
I was going to ask if Adam would sue the University of Texas football team on my behalf because they're going to kill me. I'm pretty sure that's coming. My wife will need some a civil lawsuit for sure. Or maybe Will Howard will need to sue Chris Kleiman because that was malfeasance at the end there. Look, I came into this game. I was the only mod that predicted Texas to lose, and it was solely based on what the pass defense does. That soft coverage that they've been running the last couple of weeks, it's criminal that Texas can only give up 33 yards rushing and be in a one-score and need overtime to win this game. It's criminal. 18 yards rushing. It was 33 yards that they gave up against Houston, and they needed a stop on 4th down there. This is the thing I've been saying on my show every morning, by the way, 6:30 to 7:30, get your horns up on OB Live. This is the thing I've been saying all week, all for the last couple of weeks. Catch, when you watch this team, do you see a playoff team? Because I don't. I don't see a team that has put together a full, complete game, not once this entire season. They have good quarters. They have good flashes, but they haven't come out here and played a full, complete game at all, even against bad teams. And this is a good team that nearly punished
them. You can't do that, Blake. Oh my gosh, that was kind of hilarious. That's Blake's got me cracking up. Anyway, yes, you guys actually can check out Travis when you wake up in the morning, 6:30 to 7:30 on Horns Up. Travis and crew have got you covered. You waking up in the morning, you're still thinking about your horns. That's what we do, man. We're doing this channel all from morning till night. Hell, today. A good example. We got Horns Up from 6:30 to 7:30. You got Unk over here from 8 to 11. You got House Divided from 12 to 3. You've got Alex with Football with Friends from 3:30 to 5:30. And then tonight you got the OB Outsiders from 9 until what's about 10-ish or so. How late this guy's going? It's about 10-ish tonight. I mean, you got all your Longhorn stuff covered, and you want to talk about it because they winning. Like, what else is there? Like, this is like Longhorn heaven, right? Just all day I can just get everything about my horns and be happy and excited. So I hope you guys like OB Live. I hope you guys do. Yeah, so yeah, Blake. Okay, yeah, Blake, I know you asked me that. I said that about last night, Blake, about what am I hearing about USC targeting PK? Obviously, there's a report out there about On3 about that. And here's what I'm just going to tell you. I'm making it real simple. I'm going to make the math real easy for you. PK is earning $1.7 million a year, guys. Earning a $1.7 million a year. So factor that in. That means in order for USC to get a guy like PK, this is the smartness of what Del Conte and of course Steve Sarkisian did by giving him a salary that's so high. If you go for him, you're going to have to break the bank, okay? You're literally going to have to say, if he's at 1.7, what does it take? You know, and you got to think, Cali. So got to think like Cali, you know, if you lived out in California, you know how much taxes they take out in California? Do you understand what the taxes are? So you understand that you gave him $2 million. And again, there's somebody who's a CPA that can do the better math than me, but I'm thinking $2 million probably puts him back close to even, if not less than what he's making here. So again, you guys do the math. Like, you guys got the apps. I don't have all that in front of me, but you just do the simple math. What would he have to make in Cali to not only then cover what those taxes look like, but then exceed it to get a pay bump? So where are we at that moment, right? Or are we at 2.5? Are we at 2.6? You know, what does that look like? So I'm not poo-pooing anyone's report. I'm not saying anything like that anyone's wrong. I'm not saying that that USC didn't reach out or anything like that. I'm just talking about if you got to start thinking about what it will take to get a guy to move from a lateral position to go out to Cali. You've got to, how much more, you know, because you want to get a pay bump, right? That's the whole, you know, it's not a position bump per se, it's a pay bump. So now to get a significant pay bump, now is USC going to pay a DC 2.5 million, 2.6 million? That's the question. Are they going to pay that much for a DC? And then if you are him, does it make sense to leave a team and what you've built that's competing for a national championship to go over to Lincoln Riley to do what? Find a way to compete for a national championship? I'm just trying to fit. Now, if you told me that Pete just didn't like Texas, that's one thing. But I haven't heard that. Now, listen, if this is, and I'm going to tell you this too. I want to tell you one more thing as far as the secret sauce is concerned. If this is the agent putting something out there to help get this guy a little bit of a pay bump, hey, okay, I got it. Cool. But I'd probably call the bluff on that one, though. I would call the bluff on that one. I'm like, are you really, really, really going to pay that much money for this guy? Like, I mean, I know you paid that much money for Lincoln Riley, but now you're going to do all that. I'm like, And then they're like, you know, I think Dale Coleman is saying the thing. It's like, I think at that point, if you're Texas, and you know, I'm a Pete guy. I like Pete. right? I'm a Pete. I like Pete. I've stood on the table for him, and I feel like the man deserves his respect. But if he's at the point where he wants to take $2 million or something like that, to whatever, and 2.4, 2.5, just to go out to the West Coast, whatever that case may be, and that's what he wants to do, and all the 5 stars that he's recruited that he has a chance to work with here, but his next bump here would be maybe becoming a head coach. He wants to go out there and do that. That's cool because Gary Patterson is 3 hours away, and you can probably get him for a little bit cheaper. So that's just where no disrespect. Anyway, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting conversation to be had. But I think it's a little bit early on that one. And is USC going to spend that much money on a defensive coordinator? That's what I need to know. That's what I need to know. But if they are, then the victor goes to spoils. Okay. Are y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready to have this conversation? This is going to be fun. So last night, for the first time in years, you guys have purposely watched the college football playoff ranking selection, like ranking show, right? It's a ranking show, right? By the committee. Because let's just be honest. You've had no reason to care about this thing in a very long time. There's been no reason for you. Because here it is. It hasn't applied to you. There's certain things you watch on TV. It just doesn't apply to you. It's just like, And so for once in a great while, this actually applies to Texas. Because Texas is actually in the conversation, which hasn't been. When these things finally get this late in the season, it's just been like you just watch it for fun. Now you're actually watching it because it applies to your team. Okay. So guess what happened last night? To no one's real surprise. But Blake, can you go ahead and put what the rankings ended up being when it was revealed last night? So when the rankings finally came out last night, here ends up being your top 25. And again, what the AP has, what the coaches poll has, those are cool. But this is what really matters. This is what really matters. Top 4 teams get to the playoffs, okay? We go through, no huge change. Iowa State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Penn State, right? So nothing really changes there. Oklahoma State is at 15. The people on the show said there's an argument that could be made that Oklahoma State might be ranked higher. Kansas is sitting there at 16. Oklahoma is sitting there at 17. Four Big 12 teams ranked in the top 25. Go figure, huh? That's pretty impressive. Oh, Kansas State. I'm sorry, I forgot about them. Kansas State sitting there holding on at the 25 spot. So 5 teams, not so bad. And yeah, man, it was a very interesting situation when that came out because once that thing was revealed and people saw Texas was sitting at 20 at the number 7 spot, that's when things kind of started to explode. And the first explosion occurred by Greg McElroy on television. Now, he was definitely more than irritated. He was irritated by the CFP. And I have the quote here. We can't show it on the fullness, but I'll read it to you, okay? He goes, Texas should go in front of Alabama. There's no one that would push back on that. But when you're telling people to an extent, schedule Texas Tech in the preseason, because that's what Oregon played. And Oregon went on the road and looked ugly in that game, by the way. Got a late touchdown that made it look a little better. But if you look at the strength of record, it's not comparable. Alabama and Texas are both operating right now pretty well. I wouldn't say that they're passing the eye test with flying colors, but they don't have the luxury of playing Cal Ooh, shots fired. He goes, and I'm not trying to take shots at Cal, even though he just took a shot at Cal. I'm not trying to take shots at Colorado, even though he's taking a shot at Colorado. And these other teams, I'm not. I'm just thinking, why is the committee? And then he goes, and this committee is irritating. And I'm going to be honest with you. He goes, and this is where he made the best point that I've heard being made. He goes, why are we using resume to define Ohio State as number one? We're using the eye test to define Georgia and Michigan at 2 and 3. We're using resume plus eye test to find Florida State at number 4. And then he goes, and we like Washington. He goes, so Booger McFarland says, okay, so it bothers you that there's no consistency. He goes on to say there is no consistency. And then as relates to the subject of Texas that came up, he said that Oregon should not be ranked ahead of Texas. Okay. And he said, he also said Oregon shouldn't be ranked ahead of Texas and Alabama if we're keeping it 100. And he goes, it should be Texas. They have the best resume. And this is the key right here, right? The secret sauce. They have 5 wins against teams that are above 500, including a win on the road in Tuscaloosa. To me, that stands above all else. Goes, I would put Alabama behind them. By them, he means Texas, because they challenged themselves on the road and have wins against LSU, which is not great. And then they got a win against number 9, Ole Miss. They've also got some pretty good wins along the way as well. So I put Alabama at number 7, and I put Oregon at number 8 until proven otherwise. And they'll have their chance when we get to the Pac-12 championship. And you're right. He wasn't wrong. Where we say, show me the lie, no lies detected. There was no lies detected when he started talking about that. Now, you could argue with Alabama. You could say, well, they barely beat USF, right? And that's a game that potentially they could have lost. Okay, got it. But we start talking about the quality of wins. Hey, the what was said by Greg was actually really interesting. So Greg says this, right? And I think all of Texas, he now can go anywhere in the state of Texas and not have to buy a breakfast taco, not have to buy barbecue. He's good to go going forward. But like any guy who stands on a hill and makes a bold proclamation, people start coming at you. So Blake, can you show me that thing where he had to kind of defend himself out there because someone decided like, oh, he's going to shoot some shots. So Stuart Mandel decides he's going to shoot the shot at Greg McElroy. And then Stuart says, hey, Greg McElroy, he's planting the seed that the 1-loss Alabama should be ranked higher than a 1-loss Oregon, knowing that might be the exact debate for number 4 if both went out. And Greg McElroy, I like him. Greg McElroy wants all that smoke. I think Greg McElroy is like, you listen, you can get it if you want it. And Greg, he goes, your tweet is questioning my professionalism, Stu. You're better than that. Oh, boy. Ain't nothing like patting someone on the head by telling them you're better than that. Oh, man, you want to get someone fired up, man. You know what? I can't believe you said something like that. You're better than that. Because I want consistency. Because if Ohio State is number 1 because of their resume, then we should use resume to evaluate the other teams as well. Therefore, Texas should be the highest ranked 1-loss team. And you know what? Once again, Greg McElroy making a lot of sense. Making a lot of sense. Now, was there another Greg McElroy tweet that was out there, or did I only send you that one? I think that was it. Okay. So I thought Greg was making fantastic points about it. And I think that other people who are Texas fans started making their points on Twitter. And Blake, you just want to show what some of the other people started putting out there because I thought it was interesting. Now you guys love Kyle. And Kyle, listen, Kyle puts it out there. This was on the screen. Strength of schedule, Oregon at 63, Texas is at 10. Strength of record, Oregon is at number 10, Texas is at 5. Wins over CFP playoff ranked opponents, Oregon's got 1, Texas has got 3. And then when the day is done, Oregon's ranked 6, Texas is ranked 7. What am I missing? And look, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Right there. It's in plain as black and white that Oregon should not be ranked ahead of Texas by any of the metrics, any of the stats that one might look at and one might go to. Like none of this actually is making sense when it's all said and done. Every Texas should not be ranked behind it. There's one more, right? There was one more fan thing, Blake. One more there. And then again, Colts McCoy's bookie goes, what a great point by Greg McElroy. Capitalize the E though. I capitalize that E. Texas had beat 5 teams over 500. Oregon has defeated 1. I loved it. I love the good old-fashioned debate, good old-fashioned conversation. And so anyway, afterwards, there was a media conference call. You guys were not on it. But it was a media conference call, and the chairman, Bo Corrigan, he was asked, okay, listen to this. Wanted to ask, here's the question. Wanted to ask about the 6 through 8 conversation. Specifically, he's asked, why is Oregon ranked ahead of Texas and Alabama? Okay, it's a direct question. Now, I'm going to read it to you. And if at any point in here you actually hear an answer to the question, please let me know. Because I've read it about 3-4 times, and I don't think I got an answer to the question. But you might be smarter than me. I went to public school, like Polk County, Florida, lived in Lakeland. So maybe my quality of education, and you might have went to a better school than me, more than likely. I mean, sure you did. I went to University of South Florida. I mean, I'm a step above DeVry at that moment. Okay, so I get it. So you tell me if you hear an answer. Okay, because again, looking at the win over Utah, understanding that Texas has a win over Alabama. Alabama comes back with wins over Mississippi, Tennessee, LSU, but it's a compilation of everything I was talking about in answering Joe. It's not one single metric, but we spend a lot of time on it, and we want to make sure we get it right. It's not we do it one time and then move on. We do it one time and then come back to it again and come back to it again and then make sure that everyone is comfortable with where we are. That's the answer to the question. Did y'all hear an answer? Because all I heard hey, can you simply explain why Oregon is ranked ahead of Texas? And what I heard was, hey, and we spend a lot of time on it. We come back to it a bunch of different times before we come to an answer. I'm like, again, y'all, did y'all, hey, I'm just, you know, I'm just somebody who lived in the country for a little bit. Told you, so you heard a bunch of mumbling. He had no answers. He started with, well, looking at, it's like he almost started like, I think I'm going to answer it because I'm looking at the win over Utah, understanding that Texas has a win over Alabama, and Alabama comes back with wins against Mississippi, Tennessee, and LSU. And then it's almost like he realized at that moment, oh man, I just effed up because now I can't explain it. It's almost because he started to say, because now what he was about to say was going to be more of a justification for why Texas should be ranked. And then when he started going down that road, it's like, well, Texas beat an Alabama team that's actually starting to get hot. So Texas should beat this Alabama team. Now Alabama's starting to get hot. He's like, so then see what happened was it's not one single metric, but we spent a lot of time on it, and we want to make sure we get it right. It's not like we do it one time and then move on. We do it one time and then come back to it again and come back to it again and make sure that everyone is comfortable with where we are. Okay, well, thank you, Bo. You said nothing. I believe you said nothing. He's also later asked. Okay. I'll give you this other one, just so you see how confusing this is, right? And then just how great when this thing becomes a 12-team playoff. This is just going to be more BS if this is what the hell we do. What we're dealing with right now. So someone wanted to ask him. Alex will love this question. Someone wanted to ask you about transitive properties. That is an Alex word. If there ever was an Alex Dunlap word, transitive properties is an Alex Dunlap word. He goes, I know you guys do a lot with metrics, and last week you explained that the coaches are also weighing heavily in with the eye test. I guess I'd specifically refer to the Texas-Alabama game. Is that the sort of thing that carries throughout the season? Or do you also take into consideration quarterback changes and the length of time that game was early in the season? He goes, yeah, we're going to look at everything. Every game matters. You talk to any coach, they're going to talk about every game mattering and winning mattering, et cetera, et cetera. Because the beauty of this committee to me is that it's not driven by watching games. It's not driven specifically by the resume or by the metrics. We work really hard to take everything in. I'm so confused right now. We work really hard to get everyone in the room to talk and make sure that they're voicing their opinions. Again, the coaches do carry maybe a little bit of extra weight when they're talking about it and examples that they've had in their career. But Malik Murphy said it specifically. But Malik Murphy had a good game this week for Texas. Jalen Monroe has continued to come on, and all the credit to Coach Saban. What they've done there at Alabama. I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm reading right now. I'm really starting to question. I'm looking at this diploma on the wall. It says it's a Bachelor of Arts degree from the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of South Florida. That's what it says on the wall. But what's weird is I'm not understanding what that. I feel like it's like this deflection. You guys remember in Living Color years ago? Who was the brother man that was kind of like supposed to be like the Muslim in jail, and then he would start talking, but none of it would make sense, and he would go, "It's so because of the appendectomy that isn't cleared between the aquafina of the uterus of such said person, Kayla." Like that, what was that guy's character? I know Damon Wayans used to play him. That's how I feel like what I'm watching. That's what I feel like. I feel like when Bo is giving us answers, like I feel like he's just talking a lot, and I feel like he's not saying nothing. I feel like he is talking a lot, but he ain't saying nothing. I don't understand what this man said. I'm telling you. And then somebody had asked him, can you guys justify with Alabama's win over LSU as to why you guys kept them at the number 8 spot? And then no, he did have a name, man. You guys have to look that up. I'm sure he did have a name. I thought he did. He had all those characters had names, right? Didn't they? It goes, again, as we look at this committee, we continue to evaluate the play on the field. Okay, listen. Check this out. He was asked, can you justify with Alabama's win over LSU as to why you guys kept them at number 8, specifically about the game, right? He goes, again, as we look at this committee, we continue to evaluate play on the field. Okay. We continue to evaluate the resume as well as the statistics. Texas had a win over Alabama in Tuscaloosa, which is a significant game overall this season. As we look at that, as well as Oregon continuing to play really well, they win over Utah, and the balance of the top 5 offense and top 15 defense. What? What did you say? Do you? My man, he's not answering no questions. I can't. She's not. Did you? Somebody asked about Alabama and LSU. He's like, so Alabama plays football, and then within the football, you have the yards, and it's the team's goal to score points. But we don't just evaluate points; we evaluate the score. But we don't always evaluate the score. We also evaluate the time that it takes for you to download the McDonald's app and then be able to order your Big Mac. And then the time it takes for you to eat the Big Mac and then go back to the game and then drive on 183. And then that's how we as a committee start to figure out things. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. But here's what I do know, though. Yeah, you're right. He might as well do the Chappelle Show thing when they ask a question. I plead the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth. Fifth. Like you might as well do the Chappelle thing. It just plead the fifth. Because my goodness. I think, but it kind of goes back to, for real, y'all, for a second. What this really kind of goes back to, some of the things that we kind of have talked about. It's just important. It's just important for Texas to just win out. It just win. That's the title of the show. Just win. Like Al Davis said, just win. You just win, baby. That's all. That's what this whole thing boils down to. Just win. Keep the pressure on the committee. Do what you need to do. It's a fun conversation to be had. It really is, and I enjoy it. And I enjoy messing with Bo. I'm messing with him. I mean, to a certain degree. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm saying, and I am firing off shots. But at the end of the day, like what it needs to be is it called Oswald Bates? Thank you. A bunch of you guys said it was Oswald Bates. Yes. He'd be like, and what it takes for as the black man continues to get held down by, it just be some odd, just random references that none of it made sense. Like anybody you ever known who's been locked up who thinks they try to make sense? Like you ever talk to someone who's locked out and come out and they feel like they figured out life? I'm like, I don't know. You can't figure out how to not to get caught. That's the thing about gangsters. Always funny. Like, how you hardcore when you always get caught? Like, that don't really impress me. I don't know. I tell you what, they be doing a lot in prison. That's totally off topic, though. Man, they got like basketball games and all kinds of. I mean, they just got all kinds of like TVs and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy out there in prison. It goes back to though. Everybody just needed when it comes to Texas. 3 games left in the regular season. Just win these games, man. It is. This conversation is going to be fun to have on a Tuesday night. It's going to be fun to have on a Wednesday morning. I will come in. I'll fire some shots. That's going to be fun, and that's going to be quite entertaining for everybody, right? But when you start looking at this team, and we start looking at it at a critical eye, right? And we kind of have to do that, right? We are kind of at the point now where it doesn't matter. I think, the quote unquote style points thing doesn't matter. Texas is getting the quality wins. They're getting the wins against the quality opponents. And so what Texas needs to do is go out there this weekend, beat a TCU, go on the road, beat an Iowa State, right? And then close out against Texas Tech, make this thing 11-1, win the Big 12 championship game, and then come back and go and see where the committee is at. Because I don't think this committee will be able to stand on Oregon being in front of Texas as for, if all things end up being equal. I just don't think they'll be able to do that. And then we know there's going to be some ducks in that end up falling when it's all said and done, right? Well, when I say style points don't matter, no, I mean, listen, I'm Chase. I don't think I don't think this. When I say style points don't matter, Chase. What I mean is Texas needs to continue to get wins. That's what I mean more so than anything else. Oregon is unfairly ranked against above Texas. I can't tell you what the reason is. If it's just a reason, a win against a bad Colorado team, then I guess. But that's about it. That's all anyone has. Okay, so Jason, don't like. I'm not capping for Oregon by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, and I think what my point is that Malik Murphy, we know what we're dealing with there, right? He's a young guy. He's going through the growing pains. I told y'all before, I'm not mad at him by any stretch of the imagination. He's a young quarterback. He's feeling his way through it. And it just kind of is what it is. Sure, there may be sometimes when we look at this defense, and you say to yourself, like, oh man, the secondary may be struggling. Like that might be certain things we look at. You might have some beefs. You might have some slight issues. You might not always love some of the play calling by Steve Sarkisian. I get that, right? I get sometimes might be getting a little frustrated when it comes to some of the fourth and short things, especially when you get into the red area. But I think when at the end of the day, I think that I kind of go back to is at the end of the day, this team is 8-1 with all the flaws that they have. With all the flaws and the things that we can point out and be hypercritical about, Texas sits at 8-1, and that's kind of all that matters. It's just winning the next three. That's it. Win the next three. Really win the next four. Like really win the next four. That becomes the most important thing. I think it becomes easy to criticize this team, and I think we're pretty good at bringing up kind of the faults of this team where it's at. But at some point, all that matters is getting from point A to point B. This is what you're going to have to remind yourself going forward, is that what matters is point A to point B more than anything else. Like I think I guys tell you, and I've joked about it, but I drive a 2013 Ford Taurus SCL. Not as sexy as Tom's Porsche. I can tell you that much. Not as sexy as Tom's Porsche, right? I got 173,000 miles on this bad boy. I told you guys that it was held together by splash guard was held together by duct tape until I finally got that thing fixed over there a couple of weeks ago at Covert Ford. Shout out to the good people at Covert Ford, right? And it's interesting when I go to like different cities. I travel when I fly out. I rent a car. When I rent a car, it's always a newer car, right? It's always going to be like this year will be a 2023. So like next week, when I fly into Iowa State, when I fly into Des Moines, right? I'll rent a car. It'll usually be a newer car, and I'll have all these nice bells and whistles, things that is not in my car, right? The wireless this, the wireless that, like all kinds of bells and whistles. They got these cars now. I don't understand cars. I don't understand this thing over the last few years where cars just shut off at stoplights. And I guess it's environmentally friendly and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's a PTSD that comes over an older person when that car starts to shut down, because you don't know because back in the day when your car shut down at a stoplight, it meant your car was not running. It was a wrap. Like your car shut down. I mean, you're pumping the gas, like trying to start that thing up. Like people don't know what pumping the gas is nowadays, right? But back before, you actually had to pump that gas to kind of crank that thing. You're like, man, I gotta get that, that zzz, like that, gotta get that thing to turn over. But you don't know what it's like. How many people know what it's like if I say the word pop the clutch? Where my old heads at? If I say pop the clutch, do you know what I am saying? Because there's somebody out there knows when I say pop the clutch. So Blake, if you had a 5-speed and your car was not like working, it wasn't like starting up, you would have to get your friends, your boys to go and push your car, and they have to run and then push it. and then you have to pop the clutch, the left hand. So it'd be a clutch, there would be a brake, and then there would be the gas. And you had to pop the clutch in order to get this thing to start. It had to be like perfect timing to get your car running. But yes, you have to, but everybody knows, like when I say pop the clutch, I'm like, yeah, man, there's some times, if God forbid, if you was a person behind pushing and then the thing stopped too soon, like when you know how it would jerk back and forth. And if you was too close to it, you'd run into the back of the trunk. Oh my God. So you'd have to get that thing going and then pop. And like, yes, as Jeremiah would say, it's the old school like jump start. Like that's the old school way you had to pop that thing, right? But at the end of the day, as I go down the memory lanes of all our old school stuff, anybody ever had a Crown air freshener though? Anybody ever had a Crown air freshener? How many of y'all had a Crown air freshener back in the 90s? Did you have a Crown air freshener? I used to think those are so cool. But you know what I love about my car? My current car, my 2013 Ford Taurus, outside of it being American, because that's who I am. After living in Detroit, I told myself I would always buy an American vehicle. I've always had American vehicles throughout my life. But when you go to Detroit and you see the what happened to a lot of the people in the economy there when a lot of the jobs went overseas, it always became very incumbent upon me to, at that point when I could see it firsthand, always Americans. And I'm just American guy for me. So I'm always going to drive a Ford. This is what it is. And back in the day, it used to stand for found on road dead or fixed or repaired daily. That's what it used to be back in the day. Oh, taking them back right here. But you know, what I love about my car, and I'm going to get to your Longhorns here as I go down memory lane. I love about my car is it's paid for. That's the thing I love about it. It's paid for. I see new cars, and sometimes I think about, man, it'd be kind of cool to get a newer car. I'm like, man, I don't want that payment. These cars are too expensive nowadays anyway. What the hell? 50,000, 60,000 for trucks and stuff like that? They crazy. I don't want to know anything about that. And that's the thing I look at when I look at this Texas team, right? I just got to look at the end of the day, no matter what I look like as it relates to Texas, is Steve Sarkisian getting you from point A to point B? Yes. Is it sexy all the time? Nope. But is he getting you from point A to point B? 100% absolutely. As we have this conversation in November about the playoffs, right? And we're having this conversation. The last time Texas, Royal Pine, the last time Texas was playing meaningful games in the beginning of November, I looked it up, was in the 2018 season, okay? And what's interesting, Texas is sitting at 81 now. The difference is in 2018, Texas was actually sitting at 6-3 at that point. Texas actually had back-to-back losses to Oklahoma State and West Virginia. And so at that point, it really wasn't looking like Texas was going to do anything. To be honest with you, it wasn't looking like Texas was going to do anything. But Texas ends up winning the last 3 games. And because Texas is able to win the last 3 games, then what ends up happening is that the Longhorns end up somehow the heavens fall, everything kind of falls into place, and then Texas is able to get to the Big 12 championship game. They lose to Oklahoma, but Oklahoma goes to the playoffs, and then, of course, Texas goes to the Sugar Bowl. Texas gets the Sugar Bowl win and get to 10 wins. So they end up getting there. And then, you know, and of course, all that stuff happens, right? But now Texas is sitting at 81. And first in the Big 12 standings. And the thing is, what I asked Sarkisian about was I asked him about basically, hey, man, you guys are sitting at 8-1. Not every win is pretty, right? Houston happened. Obviously, last week happened at K-State. Like, you know, you're at the point where basically you just don't apologize for having losses that are ugly. And what he told me was this. He said, I'd much rather win ugly than lose pretty. I've never seen a pretty loss, so I'll take this one. He goes, I love being 8-1, proud of our team. We did a lot of really good things. And then he goes, you know, there's a handful of things that they can improve on. But he goes, and that's one of the things he had challenged the team in the locker room. This was after the game. He goes, it's easy to look at the result and be excited about the result of the game. He goes, but our job as coaches is to go back and peel back the onion on the game and find areas for where each individual player can improve so that team can improve. And I think our best football is still out there. He said on that day that they were close to playing their best football. They talked about the things that happened, the block punt, the interception, the other interception, the fumble. But at the end of the day, he goes, I'm pumped about this because there's a lot of teams that would have played that game and not have been found a way to win, but they did. That was kind of the sign of the champion. And then eventually went on to say, hey, to sit here at 8-1 sure feels a heck of a lot better than sitting here at 7-2. So he's proud of their team, but he also knows the areas that they can improve and how they can get better. And at the end of the day, all that really matters is that Texas is sitting at 8-1. So yeah, we can nitpick. The Oregon thing is kind of a fun conversation for us to go to, for us to analyze, like get into all that and get into all the weeds. But once all said and done, Texas is sitting at 8-1. And if they win out and they force the issue by winning the Big 12 championship game, especially if they beat an Oklahoma State team, it's going to be hard to deny them. I think it's going to be really hard to deny them if a one-loss team gets in. Now, if everyone remains undefeated, it just kind of is what it is at that point. It's going to be really hard for Texas to get in. But here's a good part. I'll wrap it up. I'll put a ribbon bow in a conversation like this. At least we're having a conversation. I mean, think about it. We haven't really had this conversation not since I've been here. So it predates me. So for us to be having a conversation, I think says a lot about what Sarkisian has this program and the things that they've accomplished, the things that they're accomplishing this season, where they're at, and hopefully the trajectory of this program is also obviously heading in the right direction as well. Okay, I got more stuff to go. Let's do this, though. I'm going to get a break in. Do this. Get your buy or sell questions in the chat. I'll also be here soon, but start getting your buy or sell questions in now. And then maybe when we come back outside of the break, we'll start getting into that. So if you got some questions for me, whether it's about the rankings, whether it's about this team, whether it's about Quinn, whatever it is, and maybe I'll see if I'll do a check-in during a break and see if I could get anything that's new as relates to that conversational topic. But anything that you want to ask, buy or sell, we can do that next. Or if not, I got some other things that I don't mind talking about until Alex gets here. But yes, we got more football conversations to be had as we pop the clutch going into break. We'll pop the clutch coming out of it. We'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere. He talked about injuries. He actually did not say specifically what Christian Jones' injury was. He acknowledged that he was injured, acknowledged that guys were fighting through injuries. We talked about Kelvin Banks going down, Henry Connor going a little bit, but no, he did not say anything about the specifics of Jones. I think that got kind of lost in the shuffle when it was all said and done.
Because kind of dishonest about that as well, because he was asked about any other injuries that we haven't talked about, and that never came up.
But he was very happy with Baxter and Brooks. Both of those got, not only Baxter getting that touchdown, but he was also very happy that both guys, Baxter, I think, was close to 100. Obviously, Brooks goes over it. And so, he was really happy with being able to have those running backs back there and what they were able to do. Somebody asked him, the funniest question, somebody asked him about what's it like to have a guy like Bert Auburn for you. And he started talking about he's a guy that he has a lot of faith in. And I was like, wait a second. For real? Are you messing with us? But he did. And him having faith in Bert Auburn is probably not that I believe to be true. I just think Stark has more faith in himself as a play caller than anything else, that he's actually going to have these plays work. But I think at the end of the day, Catch, when it was all said and done, and those are kind of the only real specifics, everything. I never actually, when I say real specifics, I've gone through most of the press conference. At the end of the day, he went back to like, hey, he felt like it was a culture win for them. He felt like, yes, sure, they could have played better. Absolutely. But he said they found the way to play better at the key moments, when it counted. He talked about being down, on the 4 or 5 yard line and then, 4 straight snaps, and his defense was able to get the stop when they needed to. So, that it all goes back to, hey, it didn't go perfectly, but at the end of the day, it's 8-1. He said 8-1 sure coming to you at 8-1 sure feels a lot better than it would be at 7-2. And he's like, and I'm not going to apologize for that. It's so interesting to watch yourself doing certain things. It's kind of interesting. But yes, that was the post-game show brought to you guys by Adam Lowy from the Lowy Law Firm, a long-time partner with us here on this channel. Back when we were doing these things on Facebook, it's like it's like anything. Like you gotta have it appreciate. It's like a lot of you guys are checking us out now. And Ketch and I used to do these shows that were on Facebook for years before we transitioned over to YouTube. So it's kind of like at that point, it's kind of like the mixtapes. You got to go back and find the archives of things that we were doing, and then we got this thing started and been going from there. So yeah. Shout out to Jeff Ketchum. Shout out to Travis Gailey as well. And yes, by the way, get your buy or sell questions that are in here. I'm going to go ahead. I see 2. So I'll go. It's okay. I won't let these 2 wait. Your questions are important. So I'll do your buy or sells. If we get some more in, I'll continue down that path. If not, I will pivot and go down another road. But John, he says in his buy or sell, hey, anyone who refers back to where an opponent was ranked in weeks 1 through 6 to claim a quality win, with the exception of a team derailed by injury, should be slapped. The record now is all that matters. Bye. And yes, real big slap. Like the putting the on your hand with the baby powder, chalk, whatever it is. You put that on your hand, get it ready, and then that kind of slap. Yeah, man, like it is. I mean, right now, what do we think about Colorado's win versus TCU? Back when it occurred, to your point, John, back when that occurred, it seemed like a monumental victory for Colorado. It seemed like it was a planting the flag down. I mean, what wasn't that the press conference where Deion was like, "You believe now? You believe now?" Right? That was Deion was talking to stuff at that reporter that he was going after at that moment. And so it seemed like the whole world had stopped, right? And now you look at it and go, "Ugh, Colorado's not that good as neither is TCU." Remember back a few years ago when Texas beat Notre Dame to start off the year? And you thought to yourself, like, oh man, Texas finally beat Notre Dame. And come to find out that Notre Dame wasn't good and Texas wasn't good. So no, like it is totality, man. It's about where these teams look at and where they're ranked now, more so than anything else. That yes, if it's an injury that occurs, sure. You get John, I'm 100% with you. But nonetheless, no, the record now is absolutely what counts. And that's why Oregon being ranked ahead of Texas is a joke. It really is. Oregon beat Colorado. Yay. It's kind of what everybody's doing, right? So 100% with you. 100% with you on that one. William, 03. Texas offense rushes for 215 plus with or without Quinn Ewers. What was it last week? It was 90 plus 1, so it was a little bit of does right around that mark. Yeah, I'll buy based on the opponents. Based on opponents, I'll buy on that one. I'll buy based on Texas should be able to run all over TCU. They should be able to run all over Iowa State. They should be able to run on. So they should be able to run all over TCU. Should be able to be effective against Iowa State. should be able to run all over Texas Tech. So yeah, I will absolutely buy on that. Listen, where's the JB fan club president? You guys converted me. It was like I was a non-believer, but now I believe. Oh, I done seen the light. And so once I've seen the light, that's all I need to see. Jonathan Brooks, he legit. I don't care who plays next year. Now I'm just at the point. Now I'm like, oh, whoever they put in next year, if Brooks goes, I'm like, that part not gonna be 15. If you guys ask me next year, is CJ Baxter going to be as good as Jonathan Brooks? I'll probably say, yup. Until proven otherwise, sure, why not? Ain't fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So yes, absolutely, I'm buying on all of that. John says buy or sell for real this time. Okay. I thought the other question was for real. Outside of the slapping part right now, I'm clearly not endorsing just going around slapping people, but outside of that, unless Ewers is 100%, Shark should start Murphy and keep Quinn ready as a backup plan. Sell. So no, John, at this point in the season, it's hard to find guys who are sitting at 100%. It just is. It's hard. It's hard. Try as hard as you might. It's hard. At this point, your quarterback, everybody, they got to play through injuries. You can't have other people out there, John, playing through injuries, but your quarterback saying, I got to be at 100%. I'll be honest with you, and again, say what you want to say. If you got, I would say that 85% of Quinn Ewers is probably better than 100% of Malik Murphy at this moment, because Quinn Ewers isn't going to be as careless with the ball as Malik is. Again, Malik is a young quarterback. He's learning, he's growing, and he's developing, and that's great. And if you told me that this was early in the season in non-conference games, I would say to yourself, okay, yeah, maybe you want to give, let's say, some time. Too much is at stake. Too much is at stake to let someone who's young be able to do, it's like if you gotta get home, and it's I'll say like this, it's New Year's Eve, and the clock struck midnight, and now it's about 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and you decided that you're going to drive home. Is that the time that you let your teenager, who's only been driving for about a month or two, be the person that drive you home? I mean, clearly, I'm taking no drinks or nothing crazy like that, right? Do you let your teenager drive you home? Or do you say, no. This is where I need the veteran who's going to be on the lookout, the veteran that knows even though that light turns green, I need to look both ways just in case someone is running that light. The veteran that's looking behind them to make sure that someone is not barreling down on me because they're just out there. Get what I'm saying? At some point, you got to turn it over to the veteran and say, no, I got to take these keys. Not yet, son, this and that. It's the same way. And even if I don't say it like that, if your kid's been driving for 2 months, that's not the person that you say, okay, driving from Austin to Dallas. You right? You say like, no. You haven't seen enough, young man, young lady. You haven't seen enough for me to allow you to drive me from Austin to Dallas. Too much highway for you. You got to wait on this one. I got this. Now, maybe when we get into Dallas, I might let you drive there. But right now, do you get what I'm saying? So no. If you got him, you got to give it back to the veteran, even if he's at 85%. Gabe Locks, buy or sell. Chappelle's show is better than In Living Color. That's tough. Because Chappelle In Living Color also I would sell. Here's why I got to sell. Because if there's no In Living Color, there's probably no Chappelle show. In Living Color was kind of the blueprint of it. And when you think about In Living Color, there's a lot of guys who went on and became real famous, like off of that show, where it was all the Wayans brothers, the Jim Carreys of that. J-Lo comes off of that show, right? I mean, there's tons of people, like all those people became superstars. The only person that really became kind of a more of a star might have been Charlie Murphy. That was really about it. There's nobody else that really like blew up. Everybody else from In Living Color like blew up. Jamie Foxx. I mean, you got like living legends, like the Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx could sing. I saw Jamie Foxx in concert years ago. That man could sing. That the date I was with, I was like, can you calm down over there? Like, what? She was going crazy over Jamie Foxx. So you got Jamie Foxx, you had Tommy Davidson, you had David Allen Greer from that show, you had all the Wayans brothers who blew up from that show, you had Jim Carrey that blew up from that show. I'm probably missing some folks. So In Living Color ends up being all that, and they still have some classics. But boy, fantastic question. And of course, Chappelle stops after 2 seasons too. So there is that. So boy, good question though. Liked it. Paul Abdul. I said Jennifer Lopez. I'm sorry, Paul Abdul, former Lakers cheerleader. I apologize for that. I said J-Lo, but I meant Paul Abdul, and she blew up, became an international stuff. And then of course you had all the entertainers that came through that just added to the show as well. Like Chappelle's show had a few good ones at the end, but not like the way In Living Color had it. And In Living Color was just In Living Color to me was like, do I want to watch that or Saturday Night Live? And I thought that at that time was better writing than Saturday Night Live had. So there you go. Ben G, my dude, good morning to you. J-Lo was on there as well. I thought, okay, J-Lo and Paul Abdul. All right, y'all got to help me out. Buy or sell. Quinn needs to start this weekend, yes, to knock off all the rust and get his timing back before the road game at Ames. Yes, Quinn needs to start just to play. I mean, road rust, all those time things, all that being said, no, he needs to play. He needs to play just to get this team into playoff contention. 100%. He needs to play to get this team into playoff contention. So, yes, I would absolutely buy on Quinn coming back, getting all the reps, all that kind of stuff. Yes, you need Quinn 100%. Look at you guys over here going down memory lane. What else we got, Blake? Ben G, you think the TCU's beat Router shirt was tasteful? You know what's so funny? I didn't really pay attention to the shirt, to be honest with you. My dude was in his place. He was casual. He was comfortable. I never really paid attention to the shirt until you guys started giving him a hard time about the shirt. And I don't know if it was you guys or just his friend that was giving him a hard time about it. I didn't have any issue with it. I'll be quite honest with you. I had no issue with it. So I don't know. To be on a show at like 9 o'clock in the morning, it wasn't a job interview. So I would buy on that. It was fine with me. You guys are so don't have that man come back on this show. Because he want all that smoke. He'll take all that smoke. Don't have that man come back on here now. He's gonna be like Debo out here, snatching chains and everything. Text guy 2. Buy or sell. None of the remaining 3 teams is much better than Baylor. It's a good question. I would say Iowa State's a little bit better than Baylor. So I would say Iowa State's a little bit better than Baylor at this moment. So I have to sell on that one. Yeah, I would sell on that one just because I know Iowa State is a better team than what Baylor is. I don't think Tech is that good. I'm not quite sure about TCU. The only thing, what's up, adjudicator? The only thing that the thing that concerns me about TCU is just making sure that Texas just, I know when you say play down to the level of opponent, it sounds so disrespectful. But I think that as long as Texas says, you know what, we're just gonna go out here and curb stomp TCU and get the hell out of here. As long as they go out and do that, then I think they'll be fine. If they start playing around and messing around a little bit too much, then that becomes a little bit of an issue. But it's a night game. So that's the only thing. It's a night game. It's weird. Like, you always have those weird visions of some team pulling off an upset and storming the field and tearing down the goalposts and all that other kind of stuff. So that's the only thing. But yeah, I'll sell on that one. What else we got? Jeremiah Park. You sound like a Like, you sound like it should be a rock band, right? Like how like Linkin Park is. Like, it sounds like you should be like Jeremiah Park sounds like a cool band name. I'll be honest with you. Like, it sounds like a cool band name. Buy or sell. TCU won't score over 17 on this defense. I'll sell. I'll give TCU. So I'm giving TCU credit that they'll be able to be somewhat productive, just based off. I saw Houston score some points against this defense, and I'll give that. I'll just sell on it. I think the defense is good, but and I like the defense. Don't get me wrong, but could I see them scoring like potentially in the 20s, something like that? Sure. I think it was 9.5, right, Blake? It was 9.5 is the scores, is the line. So yeah, I mean that's what's the point total, Blake? Do you know? You can come on screen, Blake, if you need to.
I'm seeing 53.5. So Texas -10 at the moment, over under 53.5.
So 53.5. Was Texas, you said it's 10?
So team totals would be Texas 32.5 and TCU 20.5.
Okay. Yeah, right. So that's basically your kind of like your score, somewhere in the 30s to 20s for Texas, something like that. So yeah, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That's how these gamblers are. They all figure out that weird math. They're all so good. Burnt orange blood. Good morning to you. Made me think about that machine that I'm thinking about buying. Buy or sell. We go over 30 points yet again this week. Buy burnt orange blood. I'm gonna buy on that one. I'm 100% buying on that. I'm sold on the offense, even with some of the different deficiencies that they have. Even so, sometimes the pockets that they're struggling. I can absolutely see that. So yes, I will buy on them scoring over 30 points. Absolutely, yes, good one. Burnt orange, but by the way, Sanders has a big day this week. Yeah, so here's a problem. Here's why I want to buy. The challenge is, so Sanders is dealing with a foot that's kind of messed up. So he's playing through an injury. So it's going to be that burnt orange blood. He's not 100%. I've kind of reported this on Orange Bloods. At least I think I have. I think I reported it. But he's not playing at 100% at this moment. So because he's not at 100%, it's going to be hard for him to have all that success. But I like the thought process. But yeah, I'm not I'm gonna sell on that just because he's not at 100% yet. By the way, Blake, in our prize picks, they had, they had like season long stuff. And in my entry for all the college football, I had Brock Bowers, and they put a line out for 700 receiving yards. And I felt really good about it. And he got injured, and he was sitting at 567. So I'm like, please come back, block, because Blake, I have hit. So they had Penix at 3750. He's at 3,200 right now. So I'm close to Penix. They have Blake Corum, the Michigan running back, at 1050. He has at 649. I took Frank Gore Jr. specifically based off his name. He was at 1030. He's at 812 right now. Okay. Travion Henderson's the only one that's kind of slowing me down a little bit. He's finally back healthy. He was at 900. He's at 685 right now. I also had Troy Franklin. They had him at 800. He's at 946. So Troy's already gone over. Penix is close to going over. Frank Gore Jr., I put in 100 to get a $2,500 payout. And I feel good if I can get Brock Bowers back. But are these things, do they include like postseason, to your knowledge, Blake?
I don't think they would include postseason.
Do you think it's regular season?
I think it's just regular season.
Oh, well, damn, then I'm screwed.
Yeah, it sounds like a couple of those ain't going to hit.
Yeah, he ain't gonna.
Definitely Bowers.
Yeah, if Bowers, but I felt like I'm gonna come close and be close to the other ones. Mm-hmm. It's just the Bowers one that's got me, and he's probably not gonna come back to like the championship game and then play in the playoffs or something to that effect. So there's going to be 2,500.
We got someone coming up who will definitely know whether postseason counts or not on Prize Picks.
Oh yes. If let me do one more buy or sell, and I'll make sure Alex has some time to set up. So let me do one more buy or sell question, and then I'll make sure my man Alex Dunlap is good. Last one from ATX Big Rich. Buy or sell. If Quinn Ewers starts on Saturday and Texas goes up by 4 scores. Oh, I feel like this is going to end with an arch question. If Quinn Ewers starts on Saturday and Texas goes up by 4 scores and the defense holds TCU to under 14, you're okay with pulling Quinn Ewers and putting Malik back in just to keep Quinn Ewers? Yes. If all those happen and you're going into the fourth quarter and you can just run the ball and not ask Malik to throw because you can't afford all that, then yeah, I'm totally down with that, ATX Big Rich. And let's get the super chat in as well. Just a dude. At the beginning of the year, I asked if we would have a 1,000-yard rusher, and you said to ask in the middle of the season, but I forgot. Buy or sell 1,500. Buy? Why not? Buy? Why the hell not? I'm not betting against Jonathan Brooks anymore. I'm tired of betting against that dude. Yes, why not? Ask me 2,000. Hell yeah. Why? He'll do whatever he wants to do. Jonathan Brooks is that good. I would have lost money betting against him. In fact, in my Prize Picks, I was losing money because I didn't think he would make a certain yardage, and he just started. I was like, all right, this guy's legit. Like, this guy's a real deal. So to hell with that. So there's that. All right, let's go to our Speakeasy Lounge. Let's bring in it's my favorite time of the week because I just love talking to Alex. He's so fascinating in every single way. I have no clue where the conversations are ever going to go, which makes it even more fascinating. So Alex Dunlap is coming in into our Speakeasy Lounge. Good morning, Alex. How are you?
Good morning, my friend. I'm very good, very good. Still very sleepy. I still can't believe how early you do this show, man.
It's ridiculous.
It's
ridiculous. So can I tell you what's even crazier, Alex?
Hey man, why is Blake your producer today?
So Aaron, you look at you like so Aaron is like his friend is getting married or something like that. So Aaron's out of town. So Blake has actually been producing since Tuesday. Was it since Tuesday, Blake? Blake's been producing since Tuesday. So Aaron did my show. No, all week. No, Aaron did Monday. And then he's been doing Tuesday. So you got to think Blake is producing my show and he won't finish until the OB Outsiders.
He's gonna have to do Chance mock show and stuff later.
So he's got to do that today.
Blake's like DM and catch on Slack, dude, putting in for a raise and stuff.
Oh, if I was him, like that, now would be the time to ask, for it. And then he's got to do that. He's doing that for the rest of the week, and then he's still got the shows, of course. For to his chagrin, we have a night game, right? So then he's got to do not only the watch along, but then the post game, and so he'll start at 6 and finish up at like 12:31, something to that effect.
Hey, what are you gonna do on Thanksgiving? What shows are you missing on Thanksgiving?
We're not doing anything on Thanksgiving. What do you mean, like show wise?
Yeah, your shows. Are you going to keep doing the shows the whole week through?
No, we're no shows on Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, cool. That's perfect for me because I'm going hunting anyway.
No, we'll have content, so we'll pre-record like Prize Picks for that show, our prediction show. So we'll do that on sometime on Tuesday, and we'll do something else that we have on a Wednesday. But no, we kind of need some family time as well. So
I'm actually letting my family go to Dallas, and I'm going hunting.
Damn! That's now. What are you hunting for, Alex?
Well, I mean, during this time of year, I'm actually before I came on the show, I was just listening to Rut Fresh Radio on the Wired to Hunt podcast, and right now, dude, the rut is raging right now for whitetail across the nation, and I think that last weekend was good. This week, since it's gotten a little bit hotter across a lot of the nation, the rut activity and the buck movement has slowed down a little bit. But I don't know if you've looked on your weather app, but we are getting a little bit of a front and some weather coming in this weekend, and they're predicting the buck movement to come back up starting Friday. So, I mean, generally, I'm always going to be out there for axis deer, right?
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
partake in as much as the traditional Texas hunting tradition of, going and sitting in a box blind in front of a corn feeder and stuff. I'll still do that. I mean, I still think that that's fun as hell. But the game species I'm after is an axis deer. Do you know what an axis deer is?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It's an
Enlighten me,
exotic.
Alex.
It's an exotic deer that was brought here in I think the 1940s or 1950s to some of those exotic game ranches. Like
From
where they
where?
show
From where?
roam
From
what?
where? From brought here from where?
From the Indian subcontinent, like Sri Lanka and the southern parts of India. And Blake, can you pull up a picture of an axis? Yeah, so you could tell that they look a lot different than whitetails. But one of the only places, and just God, look at them, man. They drive me crazy just to look at. That's just I'm obsessed with them. But
He's like, I can't wait to kill one.
yeah, just to go get my hands on one, man. It's one of the most amazing feelings in the world. But and the only places where you can find them free ranging now is they have the Texas Hill Country, because there's so many of these big exotic game ranches out here where it's big high fenced ranches and people go in there and they pay to hunt. And say what you will about high fence, like I don't high fence or hunt. I'm hunting low fence for free range animals, but so many of these axis deer, they found a home in the hill country because they're so well suited to it. The way that they blend in to the you can just tell, you can look and see that in that picture, the way that they blend in, the way that they can camouflage, evade predators. And they also, what's different from them from other wild ungulates like the whitetail deer, is they can forage on grasses. And so they can really outcompete the whitetails. They're bigger, they're stronger. They can forage on grasses whenever there might not be a lot of biomass on the ground, like acorns and stuff like that, when they're not falling. And they rut twice a year, so they'll have a rut in June and they'll have a rut right now when the whitetails are rutting. And so they have many more offspring. And so they're considered an invasive species because they're an exotic. They're not managed by the wildlife division. And so you can hunt them year round. And so I'm always out there hunting axis, but right now is actually the whitetail rut. And what that means is that we're in the heart, like this weekend is looking like, this is going to be the heart of the whitetail rut, like the breeding season. And what that means is that you can just be out sitting somewhere and you might see a deer that you haven't seen on one of your cams all season, right? It's just a male that's coming cruising around there trying to spread his DNA to all across, and so if my target species is always axis, I'm going to set up an axis travel corridors, but those could be buck corridors as well. If I see a big whitetail buck coming through, I'll certainly kill that. But the axis is what I'm after.
So when the kill happens and you get it, are you making this into like some sort of venison? Like how what are you like what are you doing with the how what kind of food are we making this into? What's the meal looking like?
Well, I mean, there's a whole process between the killing and the meal, which is called processing the animal, right? You gotta, it's generally, if it's a nice buck, I'll want to at least cape it, which is just take its skin off, skin it, and make sure that once you cape it, you cut the head off, and you can bring it back to your taxidermist to either have them create a shoulder mount, which is the one that looks like kind of like an actual animal that's stuffed, and then, or you can get a Euro mount, which is where they just kind of give you the skull and the antlers coming off. But I always like to cape them because I have a bunch of just a bunch of the axis hides just around the house. They look so beautiful. I mean, they're kind of burnt orange with spots, right? You saw them; they're beautiful to have around. But then after that, man, you just quarter them up. You take off the back straps. You have to. I don't like to gut them. I like to use a gutless method where I just quarter them and then just take the outside back straps. So I'm able to get into the inside tenderloins, and I take them home. Some people process them themselves. I have a couple processors that I go to that I really like their products, and I'll have them turn most of it into ground meat that we use for spaghetti and tacos and stuff. We also get back straps. Those are kind of like the best part of the deer. And with those, you kind of just chicken fry them, or people have all kinds of recipes. A lot of people, they take them and they fill them up with cream cheese and they wrap it around with bacon and put jalapenos and stuff in there. One of the things I like to do with backstrap is I like to fry it and then put it on top of like spaghetti and have it like a kind of like a chicken parm, except like Axis parm. You can make Greek food with it. You can cook it like you're cooking up like a beef shawarma and eat it with pita bread and tzatziki sauce. I mean, it's just a meat, it's just a lean, it's a lean, organic, naturally sourced, free range meat. You could do a million things with it.
Hey, Blake, I want to get Alex's opinion on something. I was going to save this for the social media standouts, but I see you have it there, the coach and the kid from the team. I want you to watch this on the screen, Alex, and I want you to give me your opinion. You played high school sports. This is a high school football game in Tampa, Florida. Jesuit High School is playing, and the kid commits an error on the field. They have to basically call a timeout, right? And because they had to call this timeout.
Okay, so go over it again. I was looking at that. Okay.
Fourth down. A timeout needs to be called because this kid shouldn't. I don't think this kid's supposed to be on the field. And then he comes jogging off the field, and the coach basically decks him in the head, punches him in the head as he comes jogging off, hits him off the right, starts yelling at him. I'm curious from you and this coach. Now I want you to watch it another time. Now. Now the coach ends up getting removed from his position. He got fired because it became kind of a national story. The question is this old school coaching for you, or do you think that's out of bounds based off of your experiences?
No, in today's day and age, it's out of bounds. Well, and I think in any day and age, if a coach just hits you in the head, even with the helmet on, for one, is idiotic. The coaches can't act like that. But I will say this. I mean, if you're just, let me just play devil's advocate here and take the unpopular side, as I love to do. If you watch it and you watch him with it's his right hand that's kind of coming across his body here. Now, did he think it was something where he's like, hey, dude, get your butt in gear, get back on the sidelines, and he's kind of maybe trying to take his hand like this and kind of push the kid back, maybe get him more on the back than the side of the head, and he kind of maybe slips a little bit, and it looks like it's almost a mistake that he would get him in the head like that. And I would not think it's bad for a coach to walk up and slap the kid on the back or slap him in the ass and say, "Get to the sidelines. What are you doing? How often do we?" That's what he's saying. He said, "Why do we run from drill to drill? Why do we do this all the time? Get back to the sidelines, right? You just caused us a penalty, or you just caused us to waste a timeout.
Waste a timeout.
So it's like that, and that's what he's saying to him. Is that a shot to the head?
Or is viewed as it is a shot to the head.
Slap on the back. It looks like it might have been started out to be a slap to the back. If you look at it real close and just think about it critically, it looks like it could have been initially planned to be a slap to the back that ended up sort of hitting him and glancing him on the left side of the player's helmet.
Is there any reason to even hit a kid?
Hit a kid? Yeah,
I mean,
on the sideline.
He's a high school player. Is there any reason to
wait, hold on, wait. Have we gone from hitting a? So what do you mean? Are we talking? You can't even touch a player anymore?
Well, it's the question we're having. It's the conversation we're having right now.
No, I mean, you can't take away a coach's ability to coach. Sometimes the coach just has to, man, it's like these high schoolers, they're still kids. Sometimes the coach literally has to come up And the player will you tell your defensive tackle, and he's your third string defensive tackle, and he just won't learn what a 3 technique is. And every single time he lines up head up on the guard instead of on the outside eye of the guard. And like right there in the B gap, right? He just can't do it. You look at him every day, this kid. The third teamers run out there, this kid, number 63, whatever he is, every time. This dude is just right head up on the guard. Right. And you tell him, get in the 3 technique. He's like, I am, coach. But he's right head up on the guard. Right. Every day you do this. You come out to practice, and as sure as the water fountains are over there, and as sure as the training tables are over here, that kid, when you tell him to go line up in a 3 technique, is going to line up head up on the guard. And you tell him, and he's not going to do it. As a coach, you can walk up to him and say, dude, grab him by the back of his pads, pull him over into where the 3 technique is. And it says, now you're in a 3 technique. Do that every time, right? Do you think a coach should be able to do that?
I mean, grab him by his shoulder pads, like just grab
him by the back of his shoulder pads, yank his ass over a little bit, get him over into B gap, and say that's how many times do I need to tell you? That's where you need to be.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of on the thought process that for the most part, we as humans probably shouldn't be putting hands on each other. So I think I have an overall belief on that one. So, and not to say I haven't, like, I'm not saying I'm above it, right? I'm not saying things haven't happened in the past, but I think usually that, and I'm not saying I don't understand football or the nature of it. Like, I'm not saying like I'm oblivious to those things. I'm not quite sure. I mean, let me ask you this. And I haven't answered your question. I'm leaning towards no, but you would be okay. You would be okay if someone did that to your kid, though.
I would tell the coach, go yank his ass over into B gap. Yes.
So, okay. And so if your kid made a mistake and he was like, effing Dunlap kid, I freaking told you all that, you're like, cool. Go coach him up.
It depends on where he hit him. That one right there. Like I said, at first it seemed
effing Dunlap. I freaking told your ass over there. God damn, what the hell? You cost the timeout, man.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm talking about the guy in the 2 technique that's needing to get into the 3 technique.
I'm just using this thing.
And like grabbing him by the but let me ask, like, so I'm trying to figure out where we draw the line. I think we can both agree that thing looked inappropriate from that coach.
Okay.
I will say, if you take it charitably, I think that coach probably might have been trying to do the thing to where if that coach did what we charitably might want to give him credit for doing, and where he was just trying to take his right hand, come back around his body, get back behind number 94, shove him towards the sideline, but it ended up being a glancing blow that hit this side of his helmet. You know, the fact that it turned out to be a glancing blow, the fact that there could be any question about it, and the fact that sort of malintent could have possibly existed with that coach towards your child. Of course, a coach cannot close fist hit your child in the head, even if your kid is wearing a helmet, right?
Now, we're talking about grabbing him and saying, get to this.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
If they're older, like in high school at that point, like if you told them 6 times and you have to grab them one time and like, do this, then sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or saying like if they're not sprinting from drill to drill, right? Like I would be totally fine with a coach slapping my kid on the ass and say, get going. Like these kids need a little bit of hard coaching in life, man. Otherwise, we can't keep cranking out kids that can't take a little bit of hard coaching. But yeah, I mean, but what we also can't do is just allow that to devolve into abuse. And it feels like, hitting somebody in the head probably is
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the conversation, some people saying soft. I mean, there's also a thing called evolution. Okay, like there was also a time when you played football in the 90s and the coach viewed water as a reward as opposed to a necessity, right? And so people just go and run in the summer and just throw up because the coach would be like, you can't have water. And then we realized, like, oh, there's importance of hydration, like, and how important that is.
But where evolution
Right.
doesn't but that's science. I'm not talking about science. Like we're not talking about
I'm
science.
talking about the chats. I'm talking about I'm talking about the things that are being said in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying yes, just because certain things were done 30 years ago doesn't necessarily mean we still continue to do them. Like that's what I'm saying.
I think you do still continue to coach players hard as hell.
Yeah, you can do that, but I
Yeah.
think but most coaches understand the coaches who haven't evolved, who have been old school, are the ones that can't handle new school players. It's the reason why most college coaches fail when they go into the NFL because
I mean, in the NFL, you can't be an old school coach. Period.
yeah,
I'm talking about the development of our young men at the high school level. At the college or at the pro level, you can talk to this better than anybody. You've been in these locker rooms. Like everybody there is just in business together. It's like the coaches look at these players. They're like, at this point, I'm not here to teach you anything, man. You came in here, you're getting paid. You're getting paid to do it. I'm here to teach you the schemes that we're running. I'm not here to make you. I'm not here to make you a better man, dude. I don't care. I don't care what kind of man you are. We got to win football games, or else you're getting fired. I'm getting fired. We're kind of in this together. It's like whenever you're coming up in high school ball, it's a little bit about overcoming adversity, learning how to take hard coaching, learning whether you're better responding to negative or positive reinforcement, learning what that means. Right? Those are all things that are. It's the same kind of stuff that it's the same kind of stuff that you learn. Like I wasn't ever in the military, but I imagine it's the same kind of things that you learn during your training in the military. I mean, some of that stuff I think just kind of has to be tough. I think it has to be tough. I don't think that they should be able to hit you in the face.
Yeah, I mean, it also had hazing at one point too, right? I mean, and that that was supposed to toughen guys up and be team building. Can't do that, right? There's just certain things change as life changes. I grew up when you used to you had whoopings and you got my ass whooped all the time. It's go get the belt and got your ass whooped, and now you're like, maybe we can have a conversation. Like maybe you don't have to do. There's just different trains of thoughts of it, like of effectiveness. There's probably more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, I mean, with the whole thing about spankings and stuff, like here's the thing, like I grew up getting that stuff too from from everyone, but like I'm not sure that there was anything, like I don't harbor anything weird from that. The only reason I don't do it to my kids is because I look at my kids, I'm like, oh my god, I love them so much, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I just can't. There's no way I could ever lay my hand on one of my kids. Who knows? Maybe that's me being soft, but that's one thing where I'm.
Some people can say you're a soft parent. I've had debates with people who are like, when I was like, nah, I feel like there's better ways of parenting, right? And I feel like I don't need to do that. And I got whooped until I was 13 years old. Okay, like this, it got to the extreme. Like I'm like, wow, she's like fighting me. Like, what are we doing at this moment?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I can't hit you back, right? And so, but then but I have people tell me, well, you're not, these kids are soft and so on. So I'm like, well, I think when you know better, you do better. So, it's, that is kind of where it's like in life. So I thought it'd be interesting conversation, to be had. That's about that particular.
It's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that guy got fired. I'll bet you he didn't hit the kid in the head on purpose. And if he did, he deserves to get fired. But it feels to me like that was kind of a, like I just don't know who would want to do that. Even the hardest coaches, they don't hit they don't hit you. Well, even unless you're just really dumb, close fist hit somebody who's wearing a helmet. It's not a smart thing. It feels like if he was planning on doing it, he would have just done an open fist thing. I guarantee you that he got one of those boxers fractures on these two bones.
James and Dan talk about parents signing a waiver not to be able to spank the child school. When I was in high school, Alex, they used to be able to whip you, hit you with a paddle board, and so the principal used to be able to literally use a paddle board and spank you at school, like that.
Oh yeah, well that one, dude, they had that when I was in high school. They had the one where it was the one that my assistant principal had hanging up in his office. Mm-hmm. It was like a paddle, But
Yeah.
inside the paddle, there were little holes, little
Oh yeah.
circles, so he could get it going with no wind resistance, right?
Yeah.
So the wind would go through. It's like they
And
had
you
thought
would
of
get
everything.
paddles, like you would get a certain amount of paddles, like
Yeah,
for
man.
whatever you did wrong, like it's crazy. Like now you're like, oh my God, like that you go to jail if you did something like that, Well, with a few minutes left, you want to talk Texas football?
I guess.
Talk about butt whooping. Alex, real quick, did you have any thoughts on the college playoff rankings from last night?
Nah, I think they're cockamamie. It's like anytime you get this stuff, it's just, man, like it's like the same way I feel about these cockamamie idiots at PFF. It's like if you're gonna give these players grades and stuff, at least tell us what you're grading on. And tell us who the Wizard of Oz is behind the curtain with these magical. Here's my scroll of grades. Like, who is this person? Like, who's the, like? It's like Michael Lombardi says. I'd like to be able to evaluate the evaluator here before I take this as gospel. I don't know. It's like, it brings up a lot of questions. It's like, well, are you looking at the number of top 25 wins? Oregon. I mean, how many top 25 wins does Oregon have? Texas has 3. Is it just
one? Blake, it was in that graphic. I think it was like 1. If in one of those things that you're able to put up on the screen. Here you go, Alex. Kyle went and did it for us.
So a better strength of schedule.
Yes,
much better.
Mm-hmm.
The strength of record is better. This
Yes.
is for all from him. Kyle Umlang or whatever. The ranked opponents 1 versus 3.
Yes.
So yeah, and then so it's like, so look, if the college football playoff is going to be based on this stuff, it's these cockamamie idiots on some kind of board, then they need to at least allow the coaches to know, all right, we're gonna this is a situation where we're taking into account, say, margin of victory and everything. So these coaches know, at the end of games, they're not going to put in backups as quickly. They're going to want to, like, if they're up 52-0, they're going to need to keep their foot on the pedal and be able to say, like, hey, look, man, we got to make hay while the sun's out. We're not going to get every chance to be able to, to be able to whoop up on an opponent and be able to this will pull up our average margin for the whole year, right? We'd like to do it every game. We might not have this opportunity every game. Let's make sure and get one in that's going to really, really boost our averages for when the committee looks at it. And those are things that coaches are going to have to now decide if they want to bring their teams into the college football playoff, if you're going to be one of these 12. So if that's the case, how about let's not have it be some idiotic thing that could be on the spur of the moment for any of these guys, where it's just like, dude, do you know what I hate on war? The Olympics. And do you know why? Because somebody will do a damn dive, or somebody will they'll be riding around on their ice skates, and then next thing you know, a bunch of judges will hold up a card that says, like, that's a 9.5. And somebody else will say that's an 8, and it's like, well, what? I've hated it ever since I was a kid. What are you judging it on? What are you judging it? Like, have you told the competitor what they need to do to be able to get to a 10, or what makes it a 9.5 versus a 10? Or this is just like, 9.5, and maybe they just ate lunch, or maybe they didn't eat lunch and they're super hungry and they're irritable. They're like, oh, that guy, he should have landed that on the third. Well, gosh, that's a 7.5. Hey, can we get some lunch around here? Yeah, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? So no, I think the whole college football playoff thing for now is cockamamie and needs total transparency, because these coaches need to know what they need to do to be able to get this is important for their players. Like, these players want to get into the CFP. If there's anything the coaches can do to help, they need the opportunity to actually know what the criteria is.
You actually hate the Olympics?
Mostly. I think I'll watch the flag football stuff whenever they do that.
They will have flag football in the Olympics. That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not as subjective. What about the track and field isn't as subjective though, right? That's just that's really, like, that's just the numbers, right?
Yeah, it's fine. It's all to be honest, it's all a little bit boring. But the reason why I hate is because of these idiot judges.
Alex, this is honestly why the SEC is saying like they're going to wait before determining an 8-game schedule versus a 9-game conference schedule, because they really want to see what this committee is going to do. Are hard wins and wins against ranked opponents going to be rewarded? Because if it's not, then the SEC is going to say, well, then play an 8-game schedule and have 4 non-conference games and play a bunch of sorry teams, because all the committee is going to care about is your wins at the end of the day. And they're not going to care about quality opponents. If they're going to care about the quality of opponents that you're going to play against, then all of a sudden a 9-game schedule makes a lot more sense. And I'm talking about conference schedule is what I'm referring to. So right now, if you're the SEC and you're looking at it, you're like, well, look, man, Texas has got these quality wins and they're ranked behind a team that doesn't have a lot of quality wins, as much quality wins as Texas. If you're the SEC, you're like, well, shoot, we're not going to cannibalize ourselves. When we
but are they going to? But how are they going to find out?
I mean, they're by watching what happens now, and that's been the thing is all of SEC has been saying under Sankey is like, let's just see how this whole thing plays out. We want to see how the playoffs play out and who's getting in, and this is now from a rankings standpoint. Now, when they haven't decided 8 games versus 9 games, now the Oregon shows you, oh man, SEC. Don't do a 9-game schedule and have, cannibalize each other. Just get wins. That's all that matters, because Oregon's has proven to you it's just about the wins. Some of these other teams that are ranked ahead of Oregon that are undefeated, just about the wins. Not necessarily quality opponents. I'm just saying, I know the SEC will be looking at this and taking notes.
Well, they should be. If they figure what the hell's going on, man, hopefully they'll send me the memo, because I don't get it.
Alex, 3:30 today, football with friends. Are you still working on what you want to what's kind of on your mind? I'll be there at 4:00, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I got too much to get to, dude. I'll hopefully have the offense wrapped up, so we'll talk about that. I still have a million things I need to get to as far as the way to attack the TCU Horned Frogs. There's a million things with that. A bunch of things I never like. I have a million things to get to, man. It's gonna be a jam-packed show. Plus we'll have Anwar. So yeah, man. If you guys can tune in 3:30 p.m. today. And I got to write up my rankings. I got to get some rankings. So I got to get some items, some 3-packs of items for Anwar to rank.
Yeah, you got to get my 3 doing that. Hey, what's your take on you familiar with the band from around here, Black Pumas? You familiar with them?
Yeah.
What's your take? They got a new album that just came out. I'm just kind of curious your take on the Pumas, and I'm kind of curious, Alex. Last one, what's the best band that's ever come out of Austin?
Well, for the Black Pumas, I forget the guy's name, the younger guy, but I mean, I've played with him before. He's an incredible musician. He used to be a street musician, right? He would just want to come up on stage with local bands and stuff. It was just an incredible guy.
Wow, that's a hell of a
yeah, and they do, because it's just those two dudes, right? And it's like the dude found him, and he was like the financier for it. He's not half the musician that the other guy is, right? But what do you would know?
You have a musical ear, Alex. Only you can tell us that.
Yeah, well, and I also know the dudes, but the best band that ever come out of Austin, I mean, I guess. Well, wouldn't it be Willie, or would it be Willie, Stevie Ray Vaughan? I think it's Willie Nelson, Stevie Ray Vaughan. If we're talking rock bands, that's harder, right? There's been a bunch that have had big singles. Los Lonely Boys might have had the biggest single out of anybody. Unless I'm just completely missing someone. Asleep at the Wheel had a ton of them. Yeah. So I think that Willie Nelson, SRV are the two. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Willie Nelson are clearly the two best. Those are like musical acts, I guess. Not as much bands.
All right, Alice. I just like to get your opinion on stuff. You got a good ear for these things, so so I appreciate it. All right, Alice. I'll see you at 4:00.
Yes, sir. All right, man. I'll see y'all soon.
All right, see ya. Hey, Blake, one thing we haven't talked about is specs. And so, it's Wednesday, hump day. Time for you to figure out what you're going to do. You got to head down to specs. If you're going to be going out to Fort Worth this weekend, load up and get ready for your tailgate. You're going to be hanging home this weekend. And here, the Specs has got you covered. They got the best beer. They got the best wine. They got the best spirits. They got the snacks that you need. They can deliver if you need. Like, if whatever you're looking for, Specs has got you covered. Go ahead, Blake. Show them what Specs has got for them.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Cheers to you. So let's do this. Let's go to a break. And when we come back, we got Jenni Carlson from Sellout. She's going to be in here probably in the next 15 minutes or so. We got to do an state of Oklahoma check-in. And we got to find out what is going on with the Oklahoma Sooners, what is going on with the Cowboys. I'm sure she was there for that last game at Bedlam. They had a ticker tape parade in Norman, seemed like it, after beating Texas. Boy, the tides have really changed. Everything's kind of been different. So I want to find out what's going on there over the next few weeks. And so Jenni Carlson from Sellout will be in here, one of my favorite interviews. So you guys don't go anywhere. Let's go to a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do some social media standouts. I appreciate it, by the way, the conversation that everyone had about the football coach. It was good to have good, healthy conversations, good, healthy debates, no matter what end of the spectrum that you guys are on. So I liked it. And so let's do a quick break, and then we will be right back.
I'm taking the 3 points.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the pressure on Texas to score points. This is an incredibly gutsy call, especially since Kansas State's been pretty terrible in this part of the field offensively. They have not completely known who they want to be. I think they've wanted to be power run game with the quarterback, and it hasn't worked all day. And the thing that they've spread Texas out and been very good just moving the ball like an actual offense instead of like caveman. All right, here we go. It's fourth and goal. Kansas State is going for it. They're in 12 personnel. They got 2 tight ends on the field. They got 3 backs. They got 3 to the left. There's nothing there. Howard he's going to get sacked. He throws the ball up. It's incomplete. The Longhorns have won the game in overtime.
Wow. How about that? Found a way out of it.
And they went gimmicky on their final play of the game. They ran trips to the left, a single receiver to the right, and they go right in terms of the direction, and it's covered, and there's no secondary option. And Howard is on his back foot trying to figure out balls. He just throws the ball up in the air. It could have been an interception. It gets dropped, but the ball game is over. Final from DKR, 33-30. Longhorns hold on. And Chad, I would have taken the field goal.
Man, oh man, absolutely.
If you're unfamiliar with that, that is the watch along. So that happens on Saturdays during the game. You can hear the commentary from the guys during the games. And sometimes you're just sitting there, you may be watching the game by yourself. You can also chat during the game as well. So sitting there by yourself, you're like, man, I want to see what other people are thinking about. It's kind of like it's like the Manning brothers when they do their watch along on Monday Night Football. I don't know if you've ever checked that out. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it's kind of like that. So you got to check that out. That'll be here obviously this upcoming weekend and that over the next throughout the regular season. So go ahead and make sure you guys check that out. That is the watch along here on Saturdays during the game. Javier, did Anwar just say we're on the spectrum? What? I have no clue what you're referring to. I don't even remember saying anything bad about you guys. I don't remember saying anything about anyone. I don't remember saying anything before the break. I said
no. He's talking about, you said about the debate you had with Alex regarding the coach that y'all were on each end of the spectrum with the.
Oh, you guys, you play on words. Yes, sides, different sides. I didn't like. No, you know what? You know, that's fine. It wasn't. Some of you guys thought I was on like this. You know the. Well, I won't say it's spectrum. You guys thought I was soft, and I was like, "Well, that's kind of harsh." But then I guess that's something that someone soft would probably say. But no, I just just had a different opinion on it. So, but I'm very old school in many different things, but I'm also kind of new school in some ways as well. So it's all good. I mean, we just have different opinions. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, check this out. Let's do some social media standouts. So as we wait for Jenni Carlson to come in, she'll be in with like the next 8 to 9 minutes. So don't go anywhere. Still trying to grow this mustache out for Movember. So nonetheless, I got to ask Jenni about that because she had someone on her show talking about it. So I got to see if she's doing things for Movember as well. Let's do some social media standouts. You stand out for many different reasons, good or bad. Just all depends on what end of the spectrum. Damn it. Oh, man. Whatever side you're on. Whatever side you may fall on, apparently. Let's go. Blake, what's the first one that we got? So this actually happened on Monday at the press conference where I walked in and Danny Davis and I apparently ended up wearing basically the same outfit, just it was kind of in reverse order. Like it literally, that was what it was. It literally in reverse order. His blue was on top, my blue was on the bottom. We both had white underneath, and then of course the beige top. That portion of it was I could not have imagined that would have happened. And so it was crazy because Danny had like a sweatshirt on. Danny Davis from the Awesome American Statesman. He had a sweatshirt on, and he was, and then at the end, by the way, keep that up there for a second, Blake. At the end, he had he took it off, and we realized, like, oh snap, we literally are wearing the same. I haven't checked to see if it's 100% the same guys or not. But here's another thing I want to point out to you. I want you guys to see this. If you look over Danny's shoulders, you see a couple of people, and if you look kind of back, all the way back, like behind the guy who has looks like a denim and white shirt on, and if you look, there's a guy with a black suit back there. And there's a guy with the blue, looks like an entranceway. That is where they actually bring in the media food. So those guys are actually coming back from the media where they feed us, where they probably have some pizza and some wings and everything. So what they're actually doing is getting their plate and coming back, while Danny and I are clearly just taking photos. So I just thought you might find that one just behind the scenes. So what happens is after Sark speaks, then they have a little bit. So Sark speaks at 11:30, and then they probably bring something usually around like a 12:30ish or something like that. So like pizza and wings, so like for the media to kind of chomp on, basically, so they don't have a bunch of hangry people interviewing people and writing. So that's all that is. That's all it is. It's to make sure that people aren't hangry while they're writing stories. And it's kind of an age-old tradition. So anyway, I just thought you guys might find the Danny thing interesting. But I saw the other thing, and I wanted to point that out there as well. What else we got? All right, listen here. Chris Tucker. Y'all remember him. Y'all remember Chris Tucker. Y'all remember him back from the Friday movie, Smokey. Well, guess what? Smokey got smoked by the IRS. Chris Tucker will have to pay $3.6 million to settle claims that he shorted the government on taxes when he was at the peak of his fame. The deal will cover unpaid federal income tax liabilities for 2002, 2006, 2008, and 2010, And the government originally wanted him to pay $9.6 million. Let me tell you something. Wesley Snipes learned that one the hard way. You don't mess with the IRS when it comes to their money. Boy, look at here. There's two things you're going to have to pay in this world. You're going to have to pay taxes, and you're going to have to pay child support. Mess with either one of those entities. You talk about mess around and find out. You will mess around and find out. Chris, I'm assuming he had to get his CPAs in there and work on a whole lot of things. I mean, at least he's able to cut a check and not go to jail. Like Wesley was just like, I ain't paying, right? Wesley like, man, just bump all this. You can't do that. You got to pay. You got to give him a little something. But yeah, he was able to get it knocked down. You know, Kobe, what happened? I'm guessing the IRS was guessing like $9 million, and then they were able to provide the paperwork that was kind of saying, no, you know, this should be around like the $3 million mark. Nonetheless, though, it's still a lot of money. Got to pay though. Got to pay them. Them and child support, two things. Woo-wee. I make sure on the first of every month, child support gets paid, baby. The mortgage gets paid and child support gets paid. Those are everything else is optional. But I need a place to live. I'm not gonna let Travis County and Wilson County lock me up. No, sir. You're not gonna talk about like that. All right, let's do a couple of other social media standouts as well. Did you guys see this one? So Jenni Carlson, when Cam Newton got there, apparently speaking of money, Jenni Carlson tried to sell Cam Newton the jersey number, the number that Cam had when he was in college. He tried to sell him for $1 million. And Cam tells a story that he actually thought that Jimmy was playing around. He didn't think Jimmy was being serious. He really thought like, okay, this guy is just kind of joking around. He's just messing around with me, so on and so forth. And he basically said like, okay, then he's like, and then they came back to him. The people came back to him and said, okay, how about $750? And he said, that's when he realized the dude was serious. So Cam, you know what? I'll just be number one. And he said, I'll make it a goal to make number two irrelevant. Nonetheless, it was. Could you imagine that? Wow. All right, let's do another one. As Jenny is getting set up. This is Earl Thomas. So this is the craziest thing. So the boyfriend. Now follow this because when I originally read it, I didn't read it the right way, and I read the comments, and I wasn't the only person that didn't read it the right way. So you got to go through like some lineage here. Okay, the boyfriend of former NFL Earl Thomas's ex-wife. So Earl Thomas's ex-wife, her boyfriend, was arrested for stealing his identity in an alleged $1.9 million scam. Kevin Thompson is accused of cashing Earl Thomas's NFL checks, stealing from his bank account, and transferring car ownership for several of his vehicles. He faces charges of identity theft, forgery, money laundering, credit card fraud, computer fraud, and bank fraud. You think your life is tough when you realize that someone got your debit card and charged like $100 at Target, and you just call them and get that thing reversed at Bank of America. This guy, literally $1.9 million that this guy that it's like, whoa. Richard Allen said Earl needs LifeLock. Oh, damn. That's not funny, Richard. Even though it's kind of funny, he probably does need a little bit of LifeLock. If there ever was a person who needs LifeLock, that person does. I literally got so tired of getting contacted about someone trying to open up a credit card in my name. I just locked my credit. I've just locked it. It's literally on lock until I decide to unlock it. I locked it because every few months, it was literally actually every couple of weeks, someone had my information, and they were just trying to open up credit card, and it would open it up, and I'd have to have it shut down. I literally have just locked it, and that's what Earl needs to do. Just do a credit freeze, and Earl will be okay. All right, speaking of freezing, Oklahoma has gotten cold. I'm talking ice cold since we last saw them in Dallas. And I thought to myself, what better opportunity after Bedlam to bring in someone? Because I need a checkup. I need to check up what's going on with the people in Oklahoma. I didn't know what's going on in Oklahoma State. I didn't know what's going on with OU. What better person to do it than Jenni Carlson? So let's go to our Speakeasy Lounge and bring in the sellout herself, Jenni Carlson.
Can I say one thing about that Earl Thomas story before we start?
Yes.
That guy was transferring car ownership. I can't freaking get anybody to transfer like anything. I mean, my wireless service, like that takes an act of Congress. How the heck did he do that?
He is what the modern day crook who has said to themselves, you know what? Going and robbing people in person, who does that anymore? That's so antiquated, right?
Easy.
I found he literally just sat there on his laptop and figured the whole thing out. I don't know how he's able to do this.
Amazing. You know what? I loved Earl Thomas as a player. That dude could play now. So I hate to hear that. He's going through that. But yeah, how do you even, I can't, like, I need that guy to come help me like transfer some credit card bills or something. I don't know.
This guy clearly has wasted his talent, because if he actually applied and went to college, imagine what he actually would have been able to accomplish. He'd actually put it to a field that wouldn't land him in jail. So
oh my God.
There is that. Jenni Carlson for the sellout queen herself. Jenni, the last time I saw you and after that, I felt like OU was about to have a ticker tape parade down into Norman. I saw people that were printing T-shirts. I saw horns downs getting tattooed on bodies. It was like the Super Bowl had just happened. And then UCF kind of happened. And it's kind of like, oh, maybe it was a hangover from the Texas win. But then Kansas has kind of happened. Bedlam has happened. I got to check in. What has happened to OU since that win against Texas?
They've kind of fallen back into some of the issues they had a year ago. I mean, they lost 5 one-score games a year ago when they had that losing record, that 6-7 record, just could not win close games. And they didn't have any games as close as these last 3, or, put Texas in that mix, the last 4 that they've had. They didn't have any that close prior, to the Texas game. But they'd won some games that were a little tighter fit than they expected. And you could sort of see that they'd, figured some stuff out. They, were turning somewhat of a corner. But now they found themselves in tight games again. Obviously won the UCF game, held them off with a defensive stand on a 2-point conversion at the end. But then, they had a lead that they looked ready to salt away at Kansas after a late interception. Their offense couldn't get a first down. Before you know it, Kansas scores. Then Oklahoma's in desperation mode. And then obviously the Bedlam game, another game they had a lead and gave it away. It's been a lot of self-inflicted wounds, quite honestly, for Oklahoma in these games. Penalties, dumb penalties, back-to-back games. They've had an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the bench. They got one. An undisclosed staffer at Kansas was the guilty party. This last week, it was Brent Venables. I don't know what he said, but I know where he was. He was all the way out on the numbers from the sideline. So even if he just said, hello, I hope you're having a good day, I don't think you can be that far out on the field without drawing a penalty. But if he said something untoward and he was that far out, I get why the flag was thrown. But yeah, just some things that don't show a ton of discipline on this team. Not only those, but they just had some penalties that were not forced. I mean, offsides, false start type of penalties. That's the difference. In this Big 12, even the teams at the top, the margin for error is not all that great. We see a ton of close games in this league. And right now, Oklahoma's falling victim in a lot of those because of things they've done to themselves.
Do you think that they can stop the bleeding based off the schedule that they have upcoming? They've got West Virginia, they've got BYU, they've got TCU. I think on paper, none of those teams are better than Oklahoma. And actually, BYU, I don't know how they got the amount of wins that they have, to be quite honest with you. They look like a horrible team to me. But do you think, based off of what you see in OU, do you think they've got a chance to win the next 3 based off of what you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the schedule is really set up well for them to not only get back on the winning track, but win 10 games in the regular season, which after that season we saw a year ago would be a big step in the right direction. But this is one of the easiest schedules that Oklahoma has ever had in its history of football. My cohort, Barry Trammell, went back and looked before the season started, and he deemed it the easiest schedule that Oklahoma has ever had because of the number of teams that were on the schedule that were not Power 5 teams a year ago. Obviously, that includes the newbies in the Big 12, but you've also got, look at what their non-conference was, which was, way easy. That was one of the things back when they were undefeated that was sort of debated that, if they get in a conversation for a college football playoff spot, there is nothing in their non-conference schedule that will give them any favors. They may lose a chance on a spot in the playoff because they just didn't play anybody in the non-conference. Well, that's obviously no longer a conversation, but this still is a very easy schedule for Oklahoma. So yeah, I think the fact that they do have games that look winnable the rest of the way. Now, West Virginia, they've been the surprise of the Big 12. Oklahoma's going to have to play well. This could be another tight game, but as long as if they can just stop doing dumb stuff to themselves, they got a great chance, I think, to win this game on Saturday in Norman, being a home game. I think that helps them too. But clearly they need to clean some stuff up. And, again, some things that we thought we were seeing positive steps and forward momentum with Oklahoma. Now it's kind of hit a wall, and it doesn't feel like it's quite as headed in the right direction as it was.
H-Town Finest, to answer your question, the lovely lady that you see is Jenni Carlson from selloutcrowd.com. Jenni, if Oklahoma doesn't advance to the Big 12 championship game, how do we balance this? Because, like you said, it will be a step in the right direction, but there would have been almost an opportunity lost if that doesn't happen. Is it still a successful season if they don't get there, or will there be a little bit of disappointment when it's all said and done?
Oh, I think there's definitely going to be some disappointment, especially because, that Texas win, that was no joke, because Texas is no joke. Let's be honest. Texas is a good football team. So that win that Oklahoma had was a legitimate win. So I think, to see the steps that they made to get to that point, from a year ago, losing 49-0 to then turning around and being able a year later to beat Texas after Texas had, done what they'd done to that point. Yeah, I think it's going to be disappointing for people that, saw the great potential in this team and to not even be able to get back to a Big 12 title game. Obviously, when you see the Big 12 title game as a possibility, then, the playoff opens up as a possibility because that's just, the Big 12 teams. That's what we've seen them do historically. So, I think that the bigger thing was, hey, get back to the Big 12 title game, a place that Oklahoma had taken up residence almost, there for a while. Jerry World was kind of a second home for them in a lot of ways. They'd made so many Big 12 championship games. So get back to that point. So yeah, I think there'll be some disappointment if they don't get there, but clearly a team that could win 10 games, go to a bowl with a chance to win an 11th. I think that is a positive step in the right direction. I think we have seen improvement, especially on the defensive side of the ball, from a team that really struggled to find its footing defensively a year ago. So it can be both, I think. I think there can be disappointment for what was and what was lost, but also, the direction that the program overall has gone in a year.
Flipping on the other side of the state, though, in Stillwater, oh my goodness. You've got to help me understand this, Jenni. South Alabama happened, right? That did happen this year, right? That did happen. I was like, all right, well, I'm done. There's no need for me to pay attention to this team. What has Gundy been able to do to get his team to this point, and then of course win the final game of Bedlam. Like I've said, like nobody. I've said this before, Jenny. I've said Oklahoma fans will hold up their overall record of like how they did in the series, and it won't matter because all people will care about is that final game. It's kind of like for years and years, it's kind of like Texas and Texas A&M.
Absolutely.
Like Texas just having that scoreboard on that last kick. That's all like anyone cared about. And Texas did own the series, but that's all anyone focused in on. They win the last game, and it's kind of what the heck have they been able to do over there?
It's probably been one of the most amazing turnarounds I've ever seen within a season. I mean, I was at that South Alabama game. I can give witness to the mess that was Oklahoma State. They didn't just lose to South Alabama. They got completely destroyed by South Alabama, 33-6.
Yeah.
I mean, just an unbelievable result. And by the way, South Alabama has not gone on to, go undefeated in the Sun Belt or something. I think they're 4-5 right now. So, this is not a world-beating South Alabama program just yet. So that was it. It was a horrible loss. I mean, it's just a horrible loss. They go to Iowa State. They lose at Iowa State. But I think that between South Alabama and Iowa State, and frankly, we haven't got this answered yet, but somebody, I don't know if it was the offensive staff or at the goading, they were goading Mike Gundy we got to make a decision on the quarterback situation. They were obviously 3 quarterback platoon. It was a third. It was one of the most crazy things you've ever seen. And at that point, they're platooning their running backs too. They have Ollie Gordon, but they also have a couple other guys they're running in there. So they didn't know who those mainstays offensively were. And they decided before Iowa State, all right, we're going with Alan Bowman. They didn't commit to him long-term, but they said, we're starting Alan Bowman. He's our guy. And then they decided that they were going to give the ball to Ollie Gordon. And they started to see positive signs at Iowa State. And then they did a little bit more in that they took some things out of the offensive playbook. This is something Mike Gundy referred to at one point this year. He said, Tom Osborne at one point said, when you're struggling, don't use the lead into the pencil. Use the eraser into the pencil. Get rid of stuff. And they cleaned out some of the RPOs, some of those run pass option plays that they had to really focus on getting Ollie Gordon going downhill. He's much better going straight ahead than side to side. And they said, we're going to play to his strengths. And it has been a masterclass in mid-season adjustments, early season adjustments. But I guess the question would be, why not earlier? Because if they were playing this way, they might be undefeated, top 5 in the country. I mean, it's sort of, I think for Oklahoma State fans, I think they're sort of the same way that OU fans have got to have that level of disappointment. It's like, I think Oklahoma State fans are overjoyed about the way the season has progressed. But they also look back at those first 3 games of the year and say, what the heck was going on there? Why didn't they figure this out sooner? You've got one of the best running backs, in the last probably 5 years in college football on the roster. Why don't you use him? So they made some adjustments. So bully for them for figuring it out. But I do think there's a segment of Cowboys out there that'll say, what did it take so long for?
What do you give, what are the odds that we see Texas and Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game? You don't necessarily give me a percentage, but is that kind of where your mindset is at? That do you think that everything will be able to hold for both of those teams?
I mean, I would say I feel like that's the most likely scenario right now, in large part because, as I mentioned before, Oklahoma has an easy remaining schedule. Oklahoma State has an easier remaining schedule. I definitely this week they've got to go to UCF, a road game the week after the big Bedlam game. It's if there was ever a, trap game, this would probably be in the dictionary for trap games. But I do think Oklahoma State's got this going for them. They know that they're a team that is not a great team. They lost to South Alabama. I mean, these guys were there. They understand that they can't just roll out the balls and, lace up the shoes and just go out and beat anybody. They got to play and play well when they're on the field. So I think that helps their chances to avoid a stumble at UCF, but then they finish with, They finished with Cincinnati. No, not Cincinnati. I'm sorry. Getting confused with the schedules of mine. They've got BYU and they've got Houston first, and then BYU to finish out the year. So they've got 3 of the 4 newbies left on their schedule. So I think they get there. And, Texas, I think, again, what I said before holds. That's a good team. And as long as they get some quarterback health, and even maybe if they don't, I think they still have a really good chance to be in Arlington. And, this league is so topsy-turvy. It's so tightly packed. You could see upsets happening. You can definitely foresee, could Oklahoma State go to Orlando and lose? Sure. Could Texas lose? Sure. But I think if you're playing the percentages, I think those are the 2 teams that I like best to be in Arlington. I think it'd be a heck of a ball game.
Blake, can you do me a favor? Can you put the college playoff rankings on the screen for me? I want to get Jenni's opinion on what came out yesterday. Jenni, this was obviously the top 10 with Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan. Not much change within the top 8 there. Ole Miss being there, number 10. Oklahoma State being 15 as well and being ranked, of course, Oklahoma at 17. I'll kind of just give me your opinion on what you saw last night. And is there any case for any teams that could be ranked higher? I've heard cases that Oklahoma State should be ranked higher. Clearly on the Texas side of things, there's a belief that they should be ranked above Oregon based off of all the, the quality of competition Oregon's face. Give me your thoughts on where the rankings are, though.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State, they've been slow in rising up the coaches poll and the AP poll. So I'm not totally surprised at where they are right now. Obviously, they've got, wins against Oklahoma, Kansas, and Kansas State would be their premier wins, I guess you could say. Obviously, they would benefit wildly if they could play Texas in the Big 12 title game and win that thing. I mean, obviously, their strength of schedule for the non-conference was not very good. At least they played a Power 5 team in Arizona State on the road, so they do have that going for them. But obviously, the South Alabama loss is, it looms large. It does not look good on any resume. Now, I think as far as Texas goes, it's interesting. I mean, Texas needs to be polling for Oklahoma State to be ranked, higher. Go higher. Come on, committee. Higher, higher, higher. You need Oklahoma State, if that's who you're going to play in the Big 12 title game, to get as absolutely high as you possibly can. Now, I think if Texas gets the Big 12 title game, beats Oklahoma State there, especially if they would do it by, say two scores or something like that, I think that could bode really well for Texas leapfrogging whoever is ahead of them. I mean, you're going to obviously see Ohio State and Michigan play, Washington, Oregon coming out of the Pac-12. I think Texas has got a path that looks, pretty good if they take care of business. And then, if Oklahoma State's there, Oklahoma's a possibility to get in the Big 12 title game. Obviously, we've got several teams. If one of the 2 likely teams stumbles, whether you're talking about Kansas being there, Oklahoma being there, from a brand standpoint, Oklahoma might help Texas more if they could avenge the early season loss. But it's just, I think that, if you're Texas, you want as many Big 12 teams as high as possible because of the uncertainty of who's going to be there. I just don't know if the way this league is, I don't know if anybody's going to have huge steps forward, maybe until that Big 12 title game.
Last question I'll ask you, Jenni. I'll let you out of here on this one. The only thing that seemingly makes an Oklahoma fan happy in the face of a couple of losses is watching Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams lose over there at USC. I'm just, obviously Alex Grinch, he gets the boot obviously this week. I'm just kind of curious as to everything that's happened of Lincoln Riley and USC Grinch. I'm just curious, is your take on what's happening? Surprised or no?
I'm surprised that they've struggled. Obviously the Pac-12, it's sad that this is the last year of the Pac-12 because they really do have a lot of really good teams out there. So the fact that they've lost some games, but they've struggled against some teams that are in the lower tier, definitely lower tier of the Pac-12. So those struggles have been surprising. Frankly, I don't pretend to know the why of all this. I have no idea why Lincoln Riley was so hitched to Alex Grinch. I literally have no idea. Yeah, he brought him to Oklahoma. Yeah, he took him to USC with him. But at some point, clearly this is the formula for his teams were, it was clear. The offense is just going to have to outscore everybody because the defense isn't capable of holding anybody any good under 40 points. So, at some point, don't you want to break that? Don't you want to do something different and maybe give your team a chance to compete at the highest level, like a playoff level? I mean, think about the quarterbacks that came through Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley either coordinating the offense or coaching the team. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, best quarterback in the NFL, arguably right now.
Yeah.
And they had 0 playoff wins to show for it, in large part because those guys just had to score a bazillion points to compete. And you can't do that. So that was a mystery to me. Oklahoma fans will tell you they're tired of Lincoln Riley. They're done talking about Lincoln Riley. But anytime something like happens on Saturday, what happened? There's a lot of Oklahoma fans that are very happy. So what they say and how they feel are 2 totally different things.
Jenni Carlson, selloutcrowd.com. Tell everybody who may be interested in following you, and they may have an Oklahoma fan in their life or Oklahoma State fan in their life or anything like that, how they can get some of the material that you guys do and the great stuff that you guys do at Sellout Crowd.
Yeah, so everything's at selloutcrowd.com, or my personal page is jenni-carlson.com, and it's all free. All of our content, our written content, our video content. We've got tons of videos. A Bob Stoops, Toby Keith interview is dropping this week. So if you're a country music fan or a college football fan, there's probably some interesting stuff in there for you. So, and Jenni Carlson _OK is my handle on socials.
Hey, Jenni, so I've been trying to do this thing for Movember, for obviously for all those reasons. It's been working for over like a week and a half. It's pretty horrible. How do
you feel about it?
Well, I've got people who have donated. The only reason this happened is that someone said that they would and they said, hey, I'll if you grow your mustache out, I'll donate $500 to the charity of your choice.
Wow.
Well, now we're up to like $1,500 in pledges, right? And so we've gone to, it's going to be going to suicide prevention. And so now I feel like no one's going to get their full money's worth. Like there's no Steve Harvey that's going to occur here, right? This is if people thought they were going to get Steve Harvey, it's horrible as far as that. They've joked with me. They've said that their grandmother has more hair under her lips than me. I've heard it all. I've heard a lot of this, a lot of this disrespectful things. But you had someone on recently, talking about mental health awareness and everything like that. Can you just tell us a little bit about that interview? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, so we've had a partnership since we launched Sellout Crowd September 1st with the mental health helpline here in Oklahoma, which is 988, which is the helpline all over the place. And we actually, I don't know if we've said this publicly, but the folks with our state organization that oversees the helpline here, they've seen a noticeable increase in the number of calls, especially from men in the 18 to 45 age range, which is a group that they don't normally see asking for mental help. So we talk about it openly. We've written stories. We've talked to people. Our founder, Mike Kaler, has a very open story about his mental health journey. To anybody out there who's struggling, I would just say there's help. There's people that want to be in your corner, that are in your corner. You just need to call 988. It's easy. Reach out to somebody. There's somebody out there who's willing to help.
Thank you so much, Jenni. It's so good to talk to you. Maybe I could get you back on if Texas faces Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Anwar.
All right. Thank you. Jenni Carlson from selloutcrowd.com does a great job as always. And I was not shooting my shot. Like, why? You guys can't just let things go. Look at you. wasn't shooting my shot. She's a very nice person, though. Didn't know wedding ring on them, but anyway, Jenni Carlson, really good stuff, really good content at Sellout Crowd, and I appreciate everything that she has done as well. Yeah, and it's good. Hopefully, you guys were able to learn a little bit more about Oklahoma State, how they're able to kind of be in the position that they're in, Oklahoma, everything that they've gone through, and she is correct. Let me tell you. Nothing has made an Oklahoma fan happier that I've seen on social media than Lincoln Riley losing. They was happy to see Caleb Williams hugging his parents and his mom and stuff like that. Man, those people over there, they're like, you know what, we ain't losing, but he ain't winning either. So we'll take the wins however we can get them and whenever we can get them as well. Cotton, I'm so done with you. I'm not looking at you in the chat anymore. You're about to get banned. All right, hey, Blake, let's do this. Let's do one more break, and then we'll come back. We'll put a whole ribbon and bow on the entire show. And by the way, she said Anwar, so no shots allowed, and no shots in this one. So, but let's go ahead and do a ribbon and bow on this. We'll be right back. He talked about injuries. He actually did not say specifically what Christian Jones' injury was. He acknowledged that he was injured, acknowledged that guys were fighting through injuries. We talked about Kelvin Banks going down, Henry Connor going a little bit, but no, he did not say anything about the specifics of Jones. I think that got kind of lost in the shuffle when it was all said and done.
Because kind of dishonest about that as well, because he was asked about any other injuries that we haven't talked about, and that never came up.
But he was very happy with Baxter and Brooks. Both of those got, not only Baxter getting that touchdown, but he was also very happy that both guys, Baxter, I think, was close to 100. Obviously, Brooks goes over it. And so, he was really happy with being able to have those running backs back there and what they were able to do. Somebody asked him, the funniest question, somebody asked him about what's it like to have a guy like Bert Auburn for you. And he started talking about he's a guy that he has a lot of faith in. And I was like, wait a second. For real? Are you messing with us? But he did. And him having faith in Bert Auburn is probably not that I believe to be true. I just think Sark has more faith in himself as a play caller than anything else, that he's actually going to have these plays work. But I think at the end of the day, Catch, when it was all said and done, and those are kind of the only real specifics, everything. I never actually, when I say real specifics, I've gone through most of the press conference. At the end of the day, he went back to hey, he felt like it was a culture win for them. He felt like, yes, sure, they could have played better. Absolutely. But he said they found the way to play better at the key moments, when it counted. He talked about being down, on the 4 or 5 yard line and then 4 straight snaps, and his defense was able to get the stop when they needed to. So, that it all goes back to, hey, it didn't go perfectly, but at the end of the day, it's 8-1. He said 8-1 sure coming to you at 8-1 sure feels a lot better than it would be at 7-2. And he's like, I'm not going to apologize for that. All right, let's go ahead. Put a ribbon and bow on this entire show today. Thank you to Alex Dunlap, who joined me today earlier and had a fascinating conversations about all kinds of different things. I'll be on his show today at 4:00. So looking forward to talking to Alex a little bit later on in whatever direction he feels like going into. Usually by the afternoon time, I'm just kind of different. So who knows? I can't tell you what kind of personality I have because towards the afternoon, but it should be fun as always. I always enjoy talking to Alex. Thank you to Jenni Carlson from the Sellout Crowd who came in there and again broke down a lot of Oklahoma State stuff for us. We had a good mental health awareness talk as well. So thank you to her. Thank you for Blake for producing in behind there as always. And thank you to all you guys in the chat who being active. Even you, Cotton. With with all your silliness, the show wouldn't be show without people like Cotton who make me laugh, and it was really a good time. So 100% appreciate you, everyone who's in the chat. Barron, what a woman, great energy. She's got great, just a really good, just great at what she does. And so we'll do that. So tomorrow, well, I'll say before I go tomorrow, rest of the day, you got House Divided. That'll be coming to you guys at noon. So stay tuned for that. Noon to 3, Jeff Ketchum, Chad Hastings. Noon to 3 will be House Divided. Football with Friends, 3:30 to 5:30. No reason to go anywhere. Take a little break after that. Then come back tonight, 9 o'clock at night. The Outsiders will be on. And then in the morning time, when it's time to wake up, fresh up a morning yawning, then go ahead and check out Horns Up and get your day started. And of course, I will be back tomorrow. So for everybody behind the scenes and everybody who's been in front of the camera, appreciate everyone. Everyone have a fantastic day, especially you guys in the chat. Outside is beautiful, so enjoy yourself. And I'll be back tomorrow. Remember what I always say: live each day like it was your last, because one day it will be. And we'll talk soon.